it looks like it's going, so that means that we will get officially going with this stream. So, hello everybody, my name is Grestar, and this is Once More. It is a demo for an upcoming visual novel by Malheur Games. I don't know how to pronounce that super well because I don't speak French, but I'm pretty sure that Malheur means misfortune. So that's interesting. I may refer to them as Misfortune Games for the duration of this stream, just because I know how to pronounce that much. So I hope you don't take offense by that, or to that. I don't mean any offense by it. It's just easier to pronounce than Malheur. So, really quickly, just to show you guys, well, I mean, first, I don't really know anything about this game. I was provided some information, or rather, we all are just publicly on, like, the demo and Kickstarter page. But I didn't check, because I wanted to go into it blind. But yeah, Once More, it's a visual novel, all that stuff. If we go into options, I already did restore defaults, and so, like, the volume is all as max as it can be by default. The text speed, you know, right there. Even windowed by default, which surprised me, but yeah. And then another thing I wanted to show real quick is down here. We have the credits, and so we can see, you know, director, character, artist, all that. So first I'll just scroll through this a little bit so you guys can see, you know, give these people some credit, even though we haven't seen anything of the game yet. Because if you're watching Malheur Games, you know, or, you know, the people in charge of that, all these good people, you should know that when I play these demos, one of the main things that I do is I go through any nitpicky English things, you know, grammatical stuff, syntactical stuff, spelling, that kind of thing, that I find, because that's the best way that I feel that I can help people, you know, and I'm an English major, and so that kind of thing, it can jump out to me. Obviously, I don't get everything, because one, I'm human, and two, like, I'm not going to point everything out that I see either, but, yeah. But I went through the credits before starting the stream, and I saw, you know, they have a whole writing team, and they have that editing person, and so I don't know if that editing is in terms of, like, editing the writing that's, like, actually going into this or whatnot. But, maybe I won't have a lot of work to do today is what I'm getting at, you know? Maybe they, all, you know, 6 of these guys and girls, possibly, I don't know, people, that's what I meant. Maybe they did their job. So, we're gonna get into this now with Start Game. Demo start. Good. That's just what I wanted. Also, you should let me know now, like sooner rather than later, or, you know, as soon as you find out, how the volume levels are. Because I kind of had to reset some OBS stuff, and so I don't know where we stand with everything. Like, the volume for me is good, obviously, but I don't know how the game volume compares to my volume. And we'll find out together how, like, the sound effects and the voice and the background music all lay together in the game. But yeah, there's Felix. Well, this is my place. I think Felix is the main character. That's something I feel like I remember. And actually, if that's the case, that's quite humorous because, you know, this game is made by Misfortune Games, and Felix, I'm pretty sure, means luck or lucky. So, that's funny. Because I assume that's intentional, you know? Like, why wouldn't it be?
It's a pretty nice place for someone with no job.
Wow, way to rub that in, Mima. But actually, yeah, like that does look pretty nice for someone with no job. Like, just saying, it does. Also, interesting, she just gets sparkles. I wonder, thinking ahead, I wonder how many people are going to have, like, little portraits down there in the diamond versus how many people are just going to be there. Like, maybe everyone has a portrait for like a diamond portrait, but it only shows when they're not the ones on screen speak? I don't know. We'll find out. She got me. Then again, Felix didn't show up here. Maybe because I'm not speaking it and I'm just thinking that. Oh well, my mother's covering it. Or, oh well, my mother's covering it. That makes sense.
That's really nice of her.
It is. Already, I think I'm gonna go into the menu. Game options. I want to lower some of this stuff so that I can hear the voices better. Okay. It would be if it wasn't her way of getting rid of me. Ah, I feel that, dude. I get pretty lonely here sometimes.
You'll always have me, love. Say,
love?
Have you finished packing yet?
Are we siblings? Are we dating? It would be weird if we were dating, considering this is a visual novel and, like, all of them are about finding romance, you know? Anyway. Not yet, though there isn't much left to do. I've got a box packed with a few items to put away, and then I'm done. Awesome!
Why don't I help you? It'll go by a lot faster that way.
It would. Sure, I'd appreciate that. Right this way. I open up the last box in my room that hasn't been taken care of yet. A few small items lay in the box. They look relatively easy to put away. Sorry, I'm wondering about the verbiage there. Let's see. Just because it's like, you know, look is present tense. You know, it's not they looked relatively easy, right? But then lay is the past tense of lie. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like we have a past tense with a few small items lay in the box, but then present tense with they look relatively easy to put away. Because if we're talking conjugation, because, you know, lie and lay are two separate verbs. I mean, like, they're largely the same, but lie is intransitive and lay is transitive, which basically means that the action transfers over to an object. And so, like, I lie down in bed, but I lay the book on the table because I lay the book. You know, it has that direct object. But here, like, the small items are just lying in the box, you know? And so, with conjugation, it'd be lie... Yeah, it's lie, lay, lain, and then lay, laid, laid for, like, past and then past participle. So I think that should just be a few small items lie in the box. That's what I'd go with. A few small items lie in the box. They look relatively easy to put away.
Here, let me get that one for you.
Ha! I was able to get one thing in, assuming that I am indeed correct as far as, like, you know, the rules are concerned. Thanks. I handed her a book. Well, that's passed. Hold on. Now I gotta see how things line up. She got me. I care. That's why I'm doing this, because I care. I open up, you know, that's present. Hasn't, you know, present. Past, and then present. And then we have I handed. Whatever. I would think you should be consistent and say I hand her a book, but whatever. Since this was the last box, it didn't take long to get close to wrapping things up. In fact, within just a few minutes, only 2 things remained in the box. And, like, the past tense here, I think, is forgivable because it's like, you know, you're time skipping ahead. You're just jumping ahead into the story. And then, you know, like, looking back on the task that you did have at hand. But yeah. Still in college? I am still in college. Also, college is with an E instead of an A. What you're spelling is collage. Effective in just a few minutes, only 2 things remain in the box.
Hey, what's this?
What happened to... Why are you a bloody silhouette now? I look inside of the box. Why is she like that? We've already seen her. There's no need to hide her. So unless something dramatic is happening, which it might be considering the music died. Yeah. A pink diary rests towards the bottom. Got a Valentine? Nope. I try to pick it up carefully, but my hands won't stop shaking. Inside of this diary, like many, is a place for one to write their name. And the name on this diary is... Mima. Wait. Is the name Mima, or am I talking to Mima? That's right. She gave it to me before she... Oh, is she dead? Is that what it is? Is that why she's a silhouette and the music died? Oh no, am I hallucinating? That's right, she gave it to me before she... you could capitalize the she. I mean, like, I think technically you don't need to. I think it would look better in this case, but yeah, anyway. Before she died, yup! Well, that got a lot more... That was serious fast. The only one in this apartment right now is me, I gathered that. I thought I would have been able to move forward since then. It's been long enough, after all. I'd consider a comma before after all. But some people, like me, can't heal so easily. At least not without a push. I stand up, diary still in hand, and walk over to my desk. I place the diary in the very back of the left drawer, so that even if I accidentally opened it, I wouldn't have to see it. Fair enough. I was considering a comma before the I, like I wouldn't. And I would still consider it, but I can't come up with a rule as to why that would be necessary. So yeah. Where are my Death Battle t-shirts? I'm pretty sure... I know I packed at least one of them. I think I packed both, because I only had 2, right? Did I have 3? I only remember having 2 right now, like the gray one and then the red one. They're probably in my suitcase, in my closet. That's why I'm gesturing that way. But I'm not sure. I haven't worn them in a good while. Ha! Out of sight, out of mind. Now, what's left to put away? I look inside the box again, seeing only a single book. I don't recall placing it there, and the fact that there's no title doesn't help me either. Maybe it's an old sketchbook of mine? I think sketchbook is one word. I'm gonna Google it, so you don't have to. Define sketchbook. Yeah. That's not to say that it can't be used as 2 words necessarily. Like, I can't tell you that it isn't ever 2 words, but sketchbook, you can use it certainly as 1 word. So that's what I would do. I pick up the book and open it up, only to be greeted by confusing words. The last one have an ellipsis? Yeah, it did. Okay. Diary is talking. Okay. In exchange for suffering, grant a single event that may justify thy enormous library. What? Interesting. First, I wonder why library is capital. I mean, okay, no, the interesting part was about the text, like the actual story element. It wasn't about these things that I'm about to say for corrections or whatever. But let's jump to there real quick. I wonder why library is capitalized here. Because it doesn't seem like it should be, like, because library itself is not, like, you know, proper noun. And then I think that instead of thy, it should be thine. In the same way that we have my and mine, I think that's how those work. I would look it up just to be safe. But I think it's like, you know, we would say like my desk, because desk starts with a consonant, but we'd say, oh, actually, I'm sorry, we don't do that anymore. But it used to be like my desk, mine apple, you know? In the same way we do a and, that's what I was thinking of. But I'm pretty sure it used to be the same with my and mine too. But like, you know, thy enormous, I think it would be thine enormous, because it starts with an E, like enormous does. But I'd look into that. Doesn't terribly matter, but like if you want to be like perfect, I'd look into it. Oh goodness, how do you say your name? Mafgio? Mafifity? I don't know how to say your name. But welcome to the stream. I don't recognize your name. Should I? If I should, I apologize. But all the same, yeah, welcome. And yes, another demo. Moving on. This creature, know you his name? No, I don't. I'd capitalize no, though. Feeling a bit curious to know what would happen if I wrote in the book, I picked up a pencil and wrote my name. Wait, are you gonna question at all the fact that the diary is talking to you, Felix? Oh, whatever. Turning the page only revealed subsequent lined pages akin to a diary, with each page having a date on it. Coincidentally, the first page began with today's date. Sometimes you watch my movies. Awesome. Cool. Well, welcome to the stream. I might as well write about what I did today. Sure. He's way too calm, I think, right now. Today, I was given another reminder that it's time for me to keep moving on. I think it's doable given the right push. Short and simple, with a touch of hope at the end. I remember Mima saying that was how she liked to write her stories. If I had a writer for my own story, I'd want her to be the one to do it. At least then I would know that in the end there'd be something waiting for me that would make all of this worth going through. Deciding not to dwell on these feelings for any longer, I put the diary back on my desk and crawled into bed. Your English... No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I reflexively get on my phone and begin typing out a text, but there's no point. We'll never say goodnight to each other again. Yeah, I mean, I guess... Sorry, it's a thing, and I'm sure that a lot of visual novels do this, but, like, the jumping back between, like, past and present tense, it just, it's a little jarring sometimes. Like, I wanted to say I reflexively got on my phone instead of I reflexively get on my phone. But that's just, again, like, present and past. I closed my eyes, ready to fast forward to tomorrow. Yet, tomorrow didn't come. Well, see, here's the thing. Because, like, if we look back, we have our reflexively get, right? Get being present tense. And then we have, you know, close my eyes, present tense. But then we have tomorrow didn't come instead of doesn't come, you know, didn't being past. And so that's the kind of thing where, like, jumping back and forth, I think, can be a little bit jarring. Instead, I was quickly met with a sinking feeling. And I'd put a comma after instead. I don't see why not. When I opened my eyes again, the room that surrounded me was not my own. Where am I? Are you sure you're not just dreaming? Then again, this is a library-looking thing. And the diary did mention a capital library. Before me was what appeared to be a library. Surveying my surroundings, I noticed something odd about the lighting. Surely the moonlight wouldn't have been enough to make this place as well lit as it was, yet I could see as clear as day. You might want to have a hyphen between well and lit. I would look into that as well. Not really sure what to do, I began to walk around. If this was a library, then surely there's got to be a librarian who can point me to the exit. Hold on, I'm thinking about this one now. Because if this was a library, then surely there has got to be a librarian. That's what it currently is, where you have if this was being passed, there has got to be being like present. So I wonder if it should be, if this is a library, then surely there's got to be a librarian. Or if this was a library, then surely there had got to be, you know. I just wonder about things, that's all. I'm a wanderer. I haven't had a dream be simultaneously this lucid and peaceful in a while, so I figure it's probably in my best interest to enjoy it while I can, that's fair. As I make my way around the aisles, I notice a distant figure. As the distance between us closed, before me was what appeared to be a girl reading a book. Fair enough.
Who are you?
She looks shocked out of her mind. Oh, okay, I see. A little bit. Not quite as shocked now that I see it. I didn't realize, like, can you guys even see my mouse? I don't know. But, like, the bottom part of her eyes, I think are just really, like, a really light emerald sort of green. Like, very pale, you know? And I didn't realize that that was part of the actual, like, iris. And so I thought that she just had, like, you know, a very shocked expression. Anyway, who are you? I don't recall anything about a visitor. She spoke without looking up at me. Where is she looking, then? She's not looking at the book. Pretty sure she's not looking at the book. Even though I know that about the eyes now, it still looks like it. Where am I?
Answering a question with another question? I see you're not a bright one.
Well, that's rude. I guess that got her attention. She wasn't wrong, so I couldn't exactly object. After a short pause, she interrupted our shared silence.
To answer your question, you are currently in the Library of Alexandria.
I see, I thought that was lost. This is definitely one of my more unique dreams. There's no way I could be in the Library of Alexandria. It was burned down before I was born. Look at that semicolon. Yeah, I like that. That's good. That's proper. Good job. Obviously, I've time traveled in this dream. Maybe a comma after obviously. I think it's fine, technically. But like, technically, I think there should be a comma. But, you know, you do you. If I had control over this dream, I'd probably pick another time period to go to. Then again, if this is a lucid dream, I should be able to change it on my own. I'd put a comma after dream, though, for sure. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. I want to put a comma there. Let's see. Maybe I could go on a date with her again? Oh, with Mima, I assume. I'd want to capitalize maybe.
This isn't a dream.
You don't know that. Did she just read my mind? There's no way. If she could read mine, she'd say so. Technically, these are two separate sentences. So I'd consider, you know, just a period after way of capitalizing if, or like a colon, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I can read your mind.
Oh, well, she said so. I decided that before I thought of anything I wouldn't want someone to know, I would try to clear my mind. I have to do my best to not think of anything unnecessary. Focus. Can I do this with space, actually? Hold on.
You should see the look on your face right now.
I wish I could, but alas, I have no mirror. I can space, cool.
Read minds.
Oh, well, that was just very good timing then. Then how did you know what I was thinking? I like the comma because of the pause, like, you know, the kind of thing that I put in when reading it. But in this case, I don't know if it's necessary, actually. It could just be, then how did you know? Because it's like a, you know, direct response sort of thing.
People are just really predictable and follow a specific set of patterns.
I see. The way she talked without looking in my direction made me feel as though she had been through this before. For whatever reason, the girl before seemed to understand people pretty well. The girl before? What do you mean? For whatever reason, the girl before seemed to understand people pretty well. Do you mean like the girl before me? And do you mean seems? Or do you mean the girl before is in Mima? Because if you mean Mima, then you should just say Mima at this point. Like, we've already met Mima, we already know that she's dead, so there's no point in having ambiguity about it. I'd rather just have clarity in this case, because I don't know what this part's saying. Right now, my priority is figuring out where I am, as this apparently isn't a dream. If I have any hope of getting out of here, I probably need to at least get to know this girl better. For starters, I should at least learn her name. That's right, because then she doesn't have to be question marks. Is that her hair? No. It's a moon. Why does she have a moon? Okay. Well, I'm Felix. Who are you?
I am Shifa, the Reaper of this library.
Oh, it's like a scythe, but it's a moon. It's a crescent scythe. Cool. The Reaper of this library. Why does a library need a Reaper? A Reaper? Of a library? Exactly, Felix. I don't know. Why would a library... Yeah! Thank you. Maybe she's one of those... I've heard of people who continue to play pretend even after they get older. I see. She doesn't look like it, but the air around her makes her feel older than I am.
You look confused. Well, it can't be helped.
Capitalize well.
This is the Library of Alexandria. Yes, the same one that you know was burned down long ago.
Really seems like you can read minds. That doesn't sound possible, but the fact that I can see nothing but stars out the windows makes it hard to deny. I'm definitely not in my apartment anymore, that's for sure. For now, I think it's best if I can get some more information from her. Also, I don't know if it's just because the text looks kind of weird because of like kerning or something, or if this has come up before, I don't know. But with ellipses, like I'm inclined to say don't put spaces around them. I mean, so like, it looks like right now the ellipsis is right up against now, but it looks like there's a space and then I, and if that's the case, that's not correct. I admit I feel a little bit weird about ellipses, just as far as like the rules of them, because I have always just done immediately by the word ... immediately by the next word. But then other places will tell you to put like space dot space dot space dot space kind of thing, which is all weird. So what I'll say here with ellipses is to look up, rules in a particular style that you particularly want to use, and then be consistent within that style. That's what I'll say. So for now, I think it's best if I can get some more information from her. How is this possible?
Well, it wasn't actually burned down. I was ordered to whisk it away to this dimension and preserve it.
Oh, I see.
I also occasionally help the owner keep it up to date.
I see. I also don't think that you need up-to-date hyphenated in this case, just because it comes at the end, and so, largely hyphenation is used for clarity's sake. And just because it's, if you were to say up-to-date information, then yeah, I would want up-to-date being hyphenated. But given that it's just at the end, up-to-date, I don't think you need it. Just because you can't really confuse that phrase when it's, in its current placement. Also, anything that I say, of course, take or leave, whatever you want. Feel free, absolutely, to look things up for yourself, to look up the grammatical rules and whatnot, to run it by other people. I'm only providing some insight. Accept or reject what you will. And it's always better, of course, to look into things for yourself and make your own decisions. As she says this, a gingerbread man wearing a conductor's hat appears before me.
Yes, she is a tremendous help. Though she lacks
Why?
grip and grimoire.
Why? Why is he? Even has weird little ears. They look kind of like cat ears that are down, But it's a gingerbread man. Alright, yeah. She's a tremendous help, though she likes to put the grim in grimoire. Haha. I try to speak, but the sight of a talking Christmas snack prevents me from doing so. That's reasonable. This is a matter of personal preference, I imagine. I personally don't like to actually write out laughter unless it's that was a mix of sarcastic and sardonic, even though it didn't actually come out of my mouth. Unless it's a sarcastic or ironic kind of laughter, ha ha, very funny, that kind of thing. The way that you have it, especially since you do have these voiced, I would probably just put, they always make the same face, and have the laughter be, in the, just what you can hear. Or what I would do as a bit of a workaround is not through dialogue like this, but through the descriptive text, more like the thoughts or just when no one's actually speaking, and just put he laughed. But that's my taste. You do what you want to do.
Welcome to my library. I hope you find it to be a pleasant experience.
Now, especially since you have it voiced in this way, I would make those two separate sentences. Right now, they're separated by a comma, but welcome to my library. I hope you find it to be a pleasant experience. I think you should separate those. Just put a period after library, or, if you want to mess with semicolons, whatnot. But I think a period is honestly most appropriate in this case. You're a talking cookie? See, another case with, the ellipsis. It looks like it's against the A, but there's a space before talking. Whether or not that's the case, just make sure you go through, pick a style that you want, follow those rules, and be consistent with it.
No, lad. I can do a lot more than talk.
Fair enough.
Though surely, you've got questions that don't relate to me.
And with the previous one, I would actually consider doing no, comma, lad, comma. Anyway. Right. How did I get here? Capitalize how?
You wrote your name on the book, did you not?
Maybe.
That cemented you as our guest. Now you can enjoy this library.
Okay, cool. I definitely did do that, didn't I? Maybe that wasn't the brightest idea. I mean, when he says cemented as a guest, does that mean I can never leave? Or does that just mean I can come and go however often I please? Because that sounds pretty cool. Oh, well, truth be told, I'm not a big fan of reading. Reading used to be something that I enjoyed, but it became too stressful to keep up with. Yep, I feel that. Over time, the amount of books I wanted to read piled up so high that I stopped reading for pleasure and instead read to mark it off my checklist. Well, at least he had a checklist. He's disciplined enough to do that. I'd put a comma after overtime. Overtime, comma, the amount of books. Now, nothing is more tedious a task than reading. To top it all off, my imagination is so lacking that I can't even imagine a future for myself, dude. Ugh. Yeah, same. Envisioning other people's grand dreams and ideas is painful to someone like me. It's so rough.
Well, the books here aren't quite for reading, lad.
Put a comma after reading at the end there. And maybe after well as well.
You see, if you read a book here, you don't see words on a page. You see what the author himself imagined in his head.
You see, if you read a book here, you don't see words on a page, you see what the author himself imagined in his head. I want to put a comma after here. If you read a book here, comma, you don't see words on a page, you see what the author himself imagined in his head. I think you can leave that last part as is, though you could also make you see what the author himself, you can make that different, like another sentence you could use. Honestly, I think you could use a semicolon, colon, or like an M dash if you wanted to. See, if you read a book here, comma, you don't see words on a page, you see what the author himself imagined in his head. I mean, if I were to do a semicolon, I would put rather, comma, you see what the author himself imagined in his head. But if you had a colon or dash, you could just lead straight into it. I like those better than how it is just with the comma right now, because I feel like technically that should be its own thing, but I get the flow of it,
Death of the author has no place here.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with Death of the Author, so if it's supposed to have author capitalized, let's just Google that real quick. Why not? Let's Google it. Yeah. We're on an adventure. Death of the Author. Apparently it's an 1967 essay by the French literary critic and theorist Roland Barthes. I don't know. What does Death of the Author mean? Concept, It holds that an author's intentions and biographical facts, biographical, I can say that, the author's politics, religion, etc., should hold no special weight in determining an interpretation of their writing. Oh, okay. So he's saying that the authors say, their intent and their vision, should totally have a bearing on it. Gotcha. Now we know. Oh right, part of that was to see whether it should be capitalized. Yeah, I think that's fine actually, having author be capitalized and everything. Works for me. Back to the game I go. Sounds like quite the place. What kind of books do you collect?
All sorts. Cookbooks, textbooks, novels, manuals, pamphlets, scribes, scrolls, biographies.
Back to Googling, hold on. Okay, I think we're all good. Yeah, I'm gonna call that good. Cool. Alright, next one.
As long as it has a physical form, we collect it.
Cool. I wonder. What about diaries? Cool, okay, no voice at this point, nice. I wonder if it's gonna come back in or if it's just done now. Also, her hair, they look like little hourglasses. I wonder if that's intentional. Because I've definitely seen that kind of thing before, but they still look like hourglasses. We have a few of those, though I mostly leave getting books up to Shifa's discretion.
If you have something you wish to add, you have to talk to her. We don't just collect books, though. We sort them as well.
Yeah, this is a case where I'd want to see them split up. Like, we don't just collect books, comma, though, period. Capital W, we sort them as well, you know. Something like that.
It's hard work, though.
Comma before, though.
We have to memorize the entire contents of a book, and then we write their titles in other books as a means of storing them.
What? You have to memorize the entire contents of a book, and then you write their titles in other books as a means of storing them? I don't understand how your library works, sir.
With this, we managed to save a lot of space.
But then, like, could someone else access those books, or do we just have to talk to you and you're like, ah, yes, I memorized that one. Sit down and I'll tell you. Like, you know? This place seemed to operate similarly to a database. Is that how databases work to you? Though it seemed a lot more difficult to wrap my head around. Storing a book in another book by writing the title? How does that even work? I don't know, dude.
Anyways, I've got work to do. It was nice meeting you, Felix.
Yeah, you too,
Just call me boss.
Sure, boss, you got it. Right, boss. I watched as the snack waddled away. This is actually happening, isn't it?
Would you like to try out a book?
Yeah. I couldn't think of a reason to decline, so I figured I might as well oblige. Sure. It's not like I had anything better to do. I followed Shifa to a shelf. She grabbed a book and brought it over to me.
Try this one.
I grabbed the book and looked at the cover. It was blank. Excuse me, but when I opened it, I could see the titles of children's stories. I cannot. Oh, Jack the Stripper. Welcome to the stream. It is indeed a lot of books. I found one I recognized. It was a simple children's book detailing a caterpillar with an empty stomach. Ah, yes, I wonder what that could be. I looked for a page number and turned to it. As I did, comma, my mind went blank. I saw a caterpillar. I watched it eat. I watched it grow into a butterfly. The whole experience lasted an entire week. Oh! And when it was over, my mind went blank once again.
How was it?
How do you know it lasted a week? It was pretty boring, actually. I put a comma after boring. But I think if I read a different type of book, I would have enjoyed myself a lot more. Maybe comma after book. Like, consider it, I mean. If I can use this to my advantage, anything could be possible here. Overall, I like it. Hey, Sean, welcome to the stream. Indeed, I am not dead. Not yet. She looks pleased with my response, though she seems like she's expecting me to say more. It's not much else for me to say, but there's something I want to try out. Obviously, just get rid of that I. But there's something I want to try out. Yeah. That's just a straight up typo, I understand. Say, the boss said if I wanted to add a book here, I should come to you. I was wondering if I could get a diary of someone I knew added here. They passed away. I was hoping to be able to see them again if I brought it in.
So, you wish to make a deal?
Is that how this works? What kind of deal are you proposing, Shifa? I guess so.
This seems like a good chance.
I don't like the sounds of that.
I've had to sift through hundreds of thousands of books, to the point where most of my understanding of your world comes from fiction.
I see.
If you would be willing to continue writing in that book you picked up, I would allow you to add a book of your choosing to this library.
So the dialogue doesn't entirely match up. She says, I would allow you. The text says, I would allow for you. Just so you know. You're choosing this library.
I want you to focus on writing about a relationship you develop, as most of the romantic novels I read don't seem to hold up in practice.
I see.
If you can do that, you've got a deal.
So I have to date people? I'm not good at that. All I have to do is write in this diary and develop a relationship? That might be a bit difficult for me, yup. I've barely managed to start moving forwards from what happened with her. I don't like forwards. I would just use forward. Start moving forward from what happened with her. Then again, maybe this is the last push I needed to move forwards. Again, I like forward better. Like, I don't even know if forwards is correct. It just sounds wrong to me. So, there you have my opinion. I can't get her back, but maybe I can relive those moments again after I finish this diary. I'll do my best to find someone. Before that, though, where's the exit?
I'm right here, whenever you want to leave.
She brandishes her scythe before me.
I reap your lifespan, and you go back.
Don't know if I like that. I could feel a cold sweat running down the back of my neck. Her words felt heavy, and within them hid a simple message. Yeah. Time's up.
That is the price to pay for using this library.
I still don't exactly understand. Are you saying I'll die?
If one could write their own story, they'd surely live forever. So we collect on your time to ensure you don't live longer than you're supposed to.
It might be ENSURE in this case instead of INSURE. Because insure like that is more like insurance, whereas I just feel like it has a different intention here. I would look into it because I don't know for sure, but I would look into insure the way you have it spelled now versus ensure, ENSURE. But yeah, to ensure you don't live longer than you're supposed to. Wait, that's not fair. I didn't know. Hyphen. I would use an M dash. E as in echo and M as in Mosker. Monkey. I don't know what the army uses or whatever. What's M? What is M? I don't know. Point is though, I'd look that up. You could just copy and paste it, I assume, into whatever program you're using. Maybe not, but it would be more accurate than using a hyphen to indicate that kind of like abrupt cutoff.
Since you didn't know, I'll only be taking a minute of your lifespan this time. Next time, however long you spend in a book is how long I'll reap.
Okay, but when you say however long you spend in a book, like, so the caterpillar took a week, it said, right? But that's just reading like, to actually read that book, it would take like 2 minutes, right? But if you're just watching it, then yeah, sure. The book itself, like the chronology within the book, is a week. What about books where like a lifetime passes? Would you just die from reading that? That doesn't seem like a fair trade at all. Like, if it was like just the time it took you to read the book, fair, because that's how time works, you know? But if it's taking the lifespan from how long time or how much time passes in the book, that's ridiculous. Terrible rules. I would never go to the Library of Alexandria if that were the case. I could see a thin white cloud begin to emanate from my chest. Is this my soul?
Don't worry. This is painless.
Mm-hmm. The girl dressed as a reaper brought her scythe down across my chest, and everything began to go dark. Capitalize is. Is this what it felt like when she died too? I'm awake. Where am I? Looks like a classroom. A classroom? That's what I thought, Felix. Right, it's the first day back. I must have dozed off. It's not like I'm able to get that much sleep anyways, but the monotone this professor is using would put anyone out. Also, I don't believe anyways is, like, really a correct word. It's just anyway. It's totally fine in terms of dialogue because that's a way of, like, characterizing someone. And even in this case, like, these are his thoughts that he's having, so anyways is, like, fine, technically. But I don't think that anyways is actually, like, a word. As far as, you know, like, what the top grammar people agree on, you know what I mean? Of course, over time, it's going to become more and more acceptable as more and more people use it. That's just how the evolution of language works. But if you just wanted to be like more correct, it would be anyway. Even the people who survived this long look pretty close to falling asleep. Except her, I guess. She's been putting down notes like him reading directly off the syllabus will reveal the meaning of life to her. Oh, okay. She looks a little troubled, though. Like, the longer I look, the more I get the impression that she really doesn't want to be here right now. I mean, same, but... There's one guy off in the corner drooling. Another girl is on her phone, not even paying attention. Not like I can find fault in her when I'm sleeping in class. I should probably at least try to focus for now. Or so I told myself. My mind kept wandering back to the pact I made in that library. That was without a doubt real. I've got the diary I wrote in to prove it. At first I thought I was so desperate to see her again that I dreamt up a way to do so, but at least I'm not that pathetic. The diary from that day is real enough, so I've got no choice but to keep writing in it. Alright, looks like we're out of time. See you all next class. This is a similar case with alright, in the, similar to anyway and anyways, where, to my knowledge, alright, A-L-L space R-I-G-H-T is the more correct way, but alright, the spelling that you have here, has been, gradually accepted more and more, to the point where it is arguably more common nowadays. But, ALL space R-I-G-H-T, to my knowledge, again, is more correct. So I don't think it really matters as long as you're consistent with it. Like, if every time you use alright, you spell it this way, I'm not going to fault you. But, don't switch back and forth. Not that you have yet, I'm just saying, just ahead of time. Finally, I'm free. It's not like I had something to do, but that class is just mentally exhausting. You're only going over the syllabus. Since I didn't really have anywhere else to go, I decided to go exploring. I'm Felix, a student at Lilia Matsumoto University, or Lil-U for short. That's cute, Lil-U. Yeah. Some people call the school Lima as well, but it really depends on where they came from. This campus has a large international presence, but whether it's a melting pot or a mosaic is up to debate. As for me, I enjoy meeting people from all different walks of life, as well as seeing new things. Speaking of seeing new things, I like finding spots that nobody else visits. It'd say it's sort of a talent of mine by this point. I assume that's supposed to be I'd say, like I would say. And if not, I would make it that anyway. But yeah, I'd say it's a sort of talent of mine by this point. Considering that I'm now a guest to an interdimensional library, maybe it's less of a talent and more of a boon. I don't know whether interdimensional needs a hyphen, I'd just look into it. Mima used to leave deciding date spots to me, since I'd take her places she wouldn't have thought of otherwise. Though, even if I found a place worth visiting, she usually came up with the things we'd do there. Once I found an aquarium, so she picked out the places we'd stop to eat and another place nearby to visit afterwards. Compared to her hard-working way of finding places to visit, mine might just be luck after all. Felix, hey. Mima. All I can think about is her. How am I going to build a relationship with someone else like this? I know, dude. I mean, not that I've been there. Just relationships in general are hard. For me. Is that music? It sounds like it's coming from next door. But I heard the liberal arts class has moved out of that building ages ago. Nobody's been using those classrooms for years. Maybe it's a ghost? I would capitalize maybe. Now, the way that I do things when I do like stutters like this is I capitalize, if it's not a proper noun, I capitalize the first stutter and then lowercase the rest. So like, if I were to do this, I would capitalize the first M, then have the hyphen, then have the lowercase m. I bring this up because earlier I think you had a stutter with yeah, and you did capital Y hyphen capital Y E-A-H, which I'm not going to fault because I think it's just a matter of personal preference there. But yeah, just so you know. Either way, I would capitalize maybe because maybe it's a ghost is a separate sentence from the previous one. Also, are we going to come across that white-haired girl? I'll have to check it out. I'm getting closer. Man, I wish the lights here still worked. Capitalize man. You know, now that I can hear it better, whoever's playing is good. Really good. Ghost or no ghost, I think it'd haunt me more not knowing who it is. Maybe just a peek. Well, of course you're gonna look at who it is. You said yourself you were gonna check it out. Hey, it is White-Haired Girl. Hey, isn't that the girl from earlier? I think she is. She really can do everything, huh? I see no reason to have 2 random periods at the end there. I would just leave it as huh question mark. Or if you were going for like a trail off sort of huh, I would do HUH period question mark. So, include the ellipsis within, but don't cut it off. Like right now it's 2 periods. I keep the ellipsis 3 periods. That's how I would do that. So either no periods at all, or an ellipsis immediately between huh and question mark. Capitalize W. Wait, is she crying? Huh. Why did she stop? I'd capitalize Y. Oh, right. Of course it'd be hard to play while crying. Capitalize of. Hold on. Corloros, hello! I saw you were streaming and wanted to say hello quickly. You're currently at a friend's playing Twisted Metal 4 on tournament mode. Nice. I haven't played Twisted Metal in ages. Oh shoot, what PlayStation was that back on? I don't remember. My friend had it. I was not very good at it, but it was pretty fun. The cinematics were a little bit disturbing because I scare easily. But yeah, good to see you, Corloros. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoy yourself. She's restarting the song, but this time she seems a bit more focused. I feel like I shouldn't be seeing this, but should I really just leave her in this sort of state? Was it the first PlayStation? Okay. That's what I was thinking. But in my head, I was visualizing the PlayStation 2. But I didn't know if that's just because I owned a PlayStation 2 in the past, and so that's what I think of. Or if it's because my friend had one as well. Even if he owned one, though, it doesn't mean that, of course, Twisted Metal was on there. Or it could have been he used PlayStation 2 to play a PlayStation 1 game. I don't know. I think that was backwards compatible. Anyway, she stopped again. A lot more quickly this time, too.
Huh?
Ah! Hello! Okay, here's another case of the M dash, or where I would use one. So right now, it's, AH hyphen, right? So hyphen stands for an M dash, technically. If you do that in a Word document, if you have a word immediately followed by 2 hyphens, immediately followed by another word, then Word document will automatically format it into an M dash. Because obviously that doesn't happen here because this isn't one of those programs. What I would do, is I would just Google M dash, that's E-M as in Margaret, and I just copy and paste it, see if you can do that. I think that it would look cleaner. If you do paste or paste without formatting, just fiddle with that. But I think it would look better than the 2 hyphens. Huh?
Sorry. I didn't think this room was in use. I'll go.
No, you're fine. She grabbed her bag hurriedly. She's already gone. She is a ghost. You don't have to do that. I was just... And she's gone. I think that's the fastest I've ever seen anyone pick up their stuff. Well, except that notebook she dropped. She must have been in such a hurry she didn't notice. There's a name on the cover. Yuria. Okay. Hey, Yuria! You dropped something! I ran around the empty halls until I was out of breath, but I had no idea where she'd gone. Probably back home. Something I should consider doing. I'll have to return it to her tomorrow. For now, I think I'll hold on to this notebook. Maybe a comma after now. I can always give it back in class in 2 days. I'm not exactly finished exploring for the day, so I think I'll keep it up. Let's see. I've heard there's a new computer science building that might be worth checking out. I think there's even a gaming room that was funded by the school. While Lil Yu doesn't have a football team, we do have an esports team. Not that I'm good enough to join or anything. I make my way to the top of the new CS building, curious as to what's inside. The building has a modern design to it, which makes sense for a CS department. I find that many of the rooms are still under construction, except for one peculiar door on the far end of the hallway. Creeping open the door, I am assaulted by the rhythmic sounds of fingers clicking against keys, then a sudden silence that is preceded by a faint, poutish sigh and the dramatic flipping of pages. Okay, couple things. So I don't know if creeping open the door is accurate. I feel like you might be thinking of creaking, like creaking. Because, like, you creep. I don't think you can creep open a door. Maybe that means, like, in little movements. I'd look into it if nothing else. Rhythmic sounds of fingers clicking against keys. I feel like that second sentence, or the second part of that, just goes on a little bit long without a pause. Like, I think against keys, you might want a comma after keys. I'm assaulted by the rhythmic sounds of fingers clicking against keys, comma, then a sudden silence that is preceded by a faint poutish sigh and the dramatic flipping of pages. Maybe. Consider it. That's all I'd say. Consider it, look into it, look up rules, stuff like that. I also wonder if you actually meant preceded. Because unless I'm having a brain fart moment, preceded means that it came before. So there would be a sudden silence that happened after a faint poutish sigh and the dramatic flipping of pages. So, like, did the sigh and the page flipping happen after the silence, or did it happen immediately before the silence? Because right now it's reading that it happened immediately before the silence. Then a sudden silence that is preceded by a faint poutish sigh. You could also probably use a comma after faint, separate faint and poutish, and the dramatic flipping of pages. Okay. Sitting in the far back corner of the computer lab is where I spot a turf of brilliant pink hair done up in a messy braid. As I make my way to her desk, comma, I see a small girl, hunched over her desk covered in piles of books and loose papers, a pair of comically large glasses resting on her scrunched up button nose. Let's see. To her desk. Yeah, I still like the comma after desk, I think. Because when I go to her desk, comma, I see a small girl, hunched over her desk. You've already used her desk earlier as I make my way to her desk. So you might want to just use hunched over the desk. Hunched over the desk, covered in piles of books and loose papers. A pair of comic, or maybe even just separate into two sentences or something, you know. As I make my way to her desk, comma, I see a small girl, period. She was hunched over her desk, covered in piles of books and loose papers or whatever. Resting on her scrunched up button nose. Okay. I don't think she notices me quite yet, judging by how deeply intrigued she seemed to be in her work. Gotta go back, sorry, hold on. How deeply intrigued she seemed to be in her work. I don't think you can be intrigued in. I think you're intrigued by. Like, you can be interested in. But I feel like intrigued in her work isn't correct, or at least isn't entirely correct. I would look into that, because I can't tell you for sure, but intrigued in seems wrong to me. So I would think, judging by how deeply intrigued she seemed to be by her work. Or maybe invested in her work, or interested in her work, that kind of thing. Her royal purple eyes scan the pages back and forth. Consider hyphenating royal purple, because her purple eyes are not royal. You know, they're not royalty, but the color itself is royal purple. So hyphenating might help with some clarity there. Her royal purple eyes scan the pages back and forth, glistening like amethyst, dejected for only a moment before reclaiming a glint of determination. I feel almost hesitant to interrupt her. She was more of a force of nature now rather than some girl. I could almost see the gears spinning in her head. Nevertheless, I give out a small cough to announce my presence. There is a pause, her eyes shooting up to match mine. To match mine? To meet mine? I like to meet mine better. Match seems like an interesting choice. I can't help but notice an embarrassed flush begin to sprawl over her cheeks. I don't know if you need can't help but. Maybe just, I notice an embarrassed flush, or just an embarrassed flush begins to sprawl over her cheeks. I just don't see the need to have I can't help but notice, or necessarily even I notice. You could just, an embarrassed flush begins to sprawl over her cheeks. Along with a sort of deer in the headlights expression her wide eyes seem to capture. So the expression is deer as in like the animal, deer in the headlights, which is D-E-E-R. So a sort of deer in the headlights, again, D-E-E-R, expression her wide eyes seem to capture. Wait a minute. Isn't this girl, I'd capitalize, isn't... It's Nia! Nia?
Felix, is that you?
It is me! And it's you! I know you so well! At a loss for words, comma, I helplessly shrugged my shoulders and let out a small laugh. I like the comma after words. I would put it there. Yeah, it sure is. After all this time, she hasn't changed a bit. My childhood friend Nia Everhart.
It's been so many years, hasn't it? I can hardly remember what she looks like.
Well, I look like this. This is me.
I can't believe of all the places in all the schools, I would see you here.
Right? Nia's voice beamed. I don't know if voices can typically beam. I would look into that. Radiating that positive Nia energy I've missed from days long past. And with every word she spoke, I could feel the long years between us vaporize into thin air. I feel like days long past, this case should actually be P-A-S-T. I don't know. Let me look. Is it long past or long past? I'm Googling it right now, if you couldn't tell. The words past and past both come the verb to pass. Yep. Originally, in fact, they were the same word. Not like a tree. Means to move on, move ahead. Pass about the Sorry, it's giving you like a lot of unnecessary information too, so I'm having to scroll through it. And it doesn't even give me the example that it said it would, like in the little preview. So that's kind of dumb. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's long past with P-A-S-T. Ugh. But I just can't find... I can't find the ruling on that. That's what I'm inclined to say, though. That's just another thing that I would look up. Well, like I said, I could find the answer if I took my time, but I feel like I've already taken enough time Googling that. So I would look into it. It might be P-A-S-S-E-D or it might be P-A-S-T. I think it's P-A-S-T. I could very well be wrong, so Google it. Days long past. And with every word she spoke, I could feel the long years between us vaporize into thin air.
This is amazing! This is beyond amazing. In fact, what are the odds?
In fact is 2 words. And then I would say, this is beyond amazing, period. Capital N, space, fact. What are the odds?
This can't be a mere coincidence. No.
Really quickly, to go back to that last one. It could be, this is beyond amazing, in fact. Like, this is beyond amazing, comma, in space, fact, period. What are the odds? But I feel like the way that it was read, if I'm remembering it all correctly, it was, this is beyond amazing, period. In fact, what are the odds? So either way, it's 2 sentences. How you split it up just depends on kind of where you want the emphasis, but regardless of that, in fact is 2 words. This can't be mere coincidence. No, I think it's something more. I would also 2 separate sentences. This can't be mere coincidence. Period. No, comma, I think it's something more. She pauses for a moment before a mischievous smile stretches across her lips. I don't think the comma is necessary. She pauses for a moment before a mischievous... Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I'd just get rid of the comma.
You were sent here to help me by someone, weren't you? You must have been told that I was up here, clacking away by my lonesome.
Oh, is she alone? I thought that everyone...
Actually, I think you managed
thought it was busy.
time.
Okay. Yeah, I guess when I heard all the clacking that was described, I assumed there were like a bunch of people typing. But I guess that's not necessarily true.
I was just about to finish compiling this program, and with any bit of luck, you'll be able to check out my latest creation.
Okay, cool. So I was just about to finish compiling this program, and with any bit of luck... I would consider a comma after program. With a flare of her arms and a dramatic press of a key, the computer's fans blared and the monitor flickered. Strings of data, text, numbers, and symbols I couldn't even begin to understand flew through a black window on the screen. The fans were blaring so loud, I would say loudly, that I was convinced that the whole thing would take off and fly through the roof. Shooting a glance over to Nia, she seemed just as worried as me until finally the machine let out its final cry, falling into a silence, the monitor blaring a defeated error screen. Alright, couple things here. So shooting a glance over to Nia, comma, she seemed just as worried as me. So first there should be a comma after Nia, I would say. But I also I would want you to add a subject at the beginning there, because Felix is the one shooting the glance. But then right after, Nia, like the word Nia, she is the subject. And so the subject switches. But right now there's no subject actually listed in the first part. So like, I shot a glance over to Nia, comma, and she seemed just as worried as me. That kind of thing. Just because as it is right now, it looks weird. It's like a misplaced modifier sort of thingy, I can't think of the proper term. I don't think that's quite it. But yeah. So like, I shot a glance over to Nia, comma, and she seemed just as worried as me. Until finally, the machine let out its final cry. So I wouldn't have finally and then final so soon after one another. It just makes it seem redundant. I wouldn't have that finally. What I would do is, she seemed just as worried as me until the machine let out its final cry. Also, it's there should not have the apostrophe, because right now with the apostrophe, it means it is instead of the possessive it's. And so that's not correct, So let's put these together just so I can visualize better, so you can visualize it better. I shot a glance over to Nia, or I shoot, whatever, over to Nia, comma, and she seemed, no, it would be shot because we want to match it up with seemed. I shot a glance over to Nia, comma, and she seemed just as worried as me until the machine let out its, without the apostrophe, final cry, falling into silence. I don't like a silence in this case. I have used a silence before, but I wouldn't here. I just don't see the benefit of it. So I just say falling into silence, or falling silent, And then you have the monitor blaring a defeated error screen. Like, I could see, blaring a defeated error screen. I visualize that, or at least I think I can pretty well, with it's just like very bold, it's flashing maybe kind of thing. But you used blaring like twice already really recently, right? Yeah, the computer's fans blared, the fans were blaring. And so to use blaring again, like it was already pushing it with 2. I think 3 is definitely too many times to use blaring, because these are like one after the other. So I would switch up verbs. Yeah, falling. So I shot a glance over to Nia, comma, and she seemed just as worried as me until the machine let out its final cry, falling silent, period. The monitor blared a defeated error screen. That's what I like, except change blared. I don't know. Yeah, just the monitor flashed a defeated error screen, the monitor displayed a defeated error screen, the monitor showed a defeated error screen. I get that those don't have the same like punch and strength as blared, but maybe in that case, if you really want the monitor to blare a defeated error screen, change the blaring from the previous 2 examples, with the computer fans and all that. Whew, that was a section right there. Bright white text winked across the monitor. That's cute. But yeah, and that is the kind of error that I was picturing. So I get why blaring is important, because yeah. But yeah, just having it so many times in a row doesn't really work. Like, it takes the effect away from it, It's like exclamation points, The more you use exclamation points, like the more you use caps, it's like, yeah, we get it. The strength of this like is fading because we've already seen this before. I look back at Nia, whose hands are helplessly drawn in the air, tears swelling in her eyes at such an utter defeat. I believe you want tears welling, without the S, like just welling. It's such an utter defeat. Yeah. That is a very cute image, by the way. I like it. If it makes you feel any better, I'm just as surprised as you are. Finally, Nia breaks, falling against her desk, her voice muffled by her sleeves. Consider a comma after finally. Because it's so short, I won't say that it necessarily needs one, but I think you should have one. Finally, Nia breaks. So, you hear that natural pause.
So unfair. I was so close this time.
I'm sorry. Yeah, see, she has a portrait. I feel like we haven't seen a portrait, like the diamond portrait, in a while. Well, usually when I get stuck on something, I take a break. You could have a comma after something. I uselessly suggest, unsure of how to proceed. I don't like that, just because it's... If you were writing like a traditional novel or something like that, then yeah, you could have like quotation... Yeah, let's look through this. You could have quotation marks. Well, usually when I get stuck on something, I take a break, comma, and quotation marks. Or like end quote, I guess. And then I uselessly suggest, unsure of how to proceed, period. You know what I mean? Like, you would have your dialogue and then your dialogue tag following it. That's what I'm saying. But in a visual novel, I don't think that the follow is quite the same, because these two are disconnected. Like, we have to click in order to reach this point. And so, like, we've already moved on past that last bit of dialogue, or the last bit of text, whatever. And so I don't think this works. Like, that kind of technique is used with descriptive text, moreover than I see with dialogue, because that's when you'll have something end with an ellipsis, and then you'll begin the next one with an ellipsis, and so it carries over. And that makes more sense. Like, the ellipses are the cues that you're going from one thing and moving that idea over to the next thing. But I don't think it works in this case, because first you're moving from dialogue to descriptive text, which are just two different things in this format. And I think there's too much of a break that it becomes jarring. So if you want to give, like, still, you know, put across this idea, I would just have the dialogue in the last text, you know, the last text box, text area, whatever. And then after you click, just have, like, you know, I'm unsure how to proceed. You know, just in descriptive text. Like, I feel useless, da-da-da, whatever. But I don't like how it is now.
I'm so close to figuring it out.
You can do it, Nia! Oh, Maybe if you explain what just happened to me, you'll get an answer? Yeah, maybe.
Like rubber duck programming.
Exactly, rubber duck programming. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, I looked it up like months ago because I saw the term and I was curious, so maybe I remember it correctly. But basically, what like programmers might do, because like the thing with programming is like one missed like bit of punctuation or one missed letter, one missed character just in general can like ruin an entire thing, right? And so oftentimes what people will do is they might have like a little rubber duck or a little action figure, a little something that they'll have on their desk, right? And they will explain how the program is supposed to work, like what the things actually mean, like the different strands of text and everything, what the error meant, where that might be, whatever. And just talking through the problem sometimes helps you solve it. You've probably experienced this too when you're doing homework or whatever, and you're like, how do I do this? And your mom's like, well, explain what you do know, or whatever. And then as you explain, you're like, oh, yeah, that's how, you figure it out. Same kind of thing. So rubber duck programming, there we go. I am not going to quack for you.
I wasn't going to ask that.
Now, after my explanation, maybe they're about to provide it. I don't know. Haha, I figured. So, what's going on here?
Well, you see, this computer runs on a 32-bit operating system, and the one I use at home runs on a 64-bit operating system, which means that whenever I try to run large integer computations...
Right. I would hyphenate 32-bit and 64-bit, and I would suggest a comma after 32-bit operating system, because then you go into... So, well, you see, this computer runs on a 32-bit operating system, comma, but the one I use at home runs on a 64-bit operating system. I think technically that's more grammatically correct. If you want to leave it as it is, like without that comma, I would honestly be fine with it, because the point of this bit of dialogue right here is that she is like... She's in the zone, right? And so she's doing this whole like run-on sort of thing, not taking a breath. I get that portrayal, and so I understand if you don't want to include that comma. I'd still include the hyphens though, because that doesn't change how it's actually like read aloud. It just adds some clarification to it, and it's just, again, more accurate. She goes on, and on and on and on. Really? I didn't understand a single word she said. She's talking so fast that I have to actively concentrate on keeping up with whatever she's saying, her voice only trailing off toward the end of her long-winded ramble. I would hyphenate long-winded. Again, if nothing else, Google it. Look into it. When she finally does slow down, her cheeks are even brighter than ever, and she looks down rather sheepishly.
Oh, I realized what I was doing wrong. It was really a simple memory allocation issue. Something wrong with my erase.
Well, I hope so, Nia. She turned back towards the computer and works her magic with the keyboard. I'd say turns, just because you have works her magic later on. So she turns back towards the computer and works her magic with the keyboard. It's just consistent that way. You have present tense and then present tense, whereas right now it's turned past and works present. Afterwards, that's different. Because you just had, didn't you just have after? No, you just had towards. Anyway, but afterwards is AFTERWARDS. I'll Google that to be sure. But I'm pretty sure that's not a thing. Afterwards. Yeah. It's not coming up with anything when I spell it with an O like that. So AFTERWARDS. Cool. Figuring things out. Hey, are there actually 6 people watching? Because, like, no one said anything. Which is fine. I'm just curious. I just saw as I happened to, like, click off. Cool. Anyway, back to the game I go. Afterwards, she reluctantly starts the program again with a lot less flourish than before. I wouldn't have the comma after again, just afterwards, again with an A. She reluctantly starts the program again with a lot less flourish than before. No computer fans blare. The screen refrains from changing to an angry shade of red. I just want an and, probably. No computer fans blare and the screen refrains. Yeah, just because that would be more grammatically accurate, you know? More correct. Did I see the message about the 12-hour challenge? Yes, I did, Steve. And I did the 2. There are only 2 wheels, right? I did both the wheels. I got horror, and I got the Wii U. I don't own a Wii U, but I looked up horror games on the Wii U, and I found one that I have on Steam, and so I'm definitely considering playing that. If not, I might spin the wheel again. I mean, basically, I can only play on PC, so I'd have to limit that. But I'm at least sticking to the genre, horror. That's my plan. Okay. So, and with the program finally compiled, I would consider a comma after compiled, we are left with the windows automatically closing themselves and a long list of errors appear. Okay, hold on. You're not doing the wheel at all? That's fair. That's fair. You don't have to do the theme by any means, but it's like they point out the theme is really just for like return people or people who otherwise, like me, wouldn't be able to get themselves to decide on anything. It's just to help them out. So it's like, I don't think I ever would have done a speedrun of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 had I not done the TV-based theme, you know? But even though I haven't gotten the world record yet, even though I should have, I enjoyed speedrunning that. Like, I'm glad I did. You originally got card/board games and PlayStation. So you could do like a PlayStation Monopoly or something. I don't even know how that works. Anyway, yeah, you feel free, like, respin it or just come up with your own. That's cool. Now to look at this. And with the program finally compiled, comma, we are left with the windows automatically closing themselves, no comma after themselves, and a long list of errors appear. Appears, because that's actually going along with the list, not the errors. So it would be a long list appears, not errors appear. Like, it's not modifying that, you know what I mean? Or not going back to that. So yeah. Add a comma after compiled, remove the comma after themselves, change appear to appears, and I think this sentence is fine.
There we go. This is so much better. Thanks, Felix.
Get rid of the comma after so, and you're good. Maybe have a comma after thanks. Like I would. I would do thanks, comma Felix. Learning and doing Aliens Isolation. I've never even played Aliens Isolation. From what I saw or heard of it, like, it scared the crap out of me. I guess I didn't even think about a speedrun of that, though. Do they have Aliens Isolation on Wii U? Was that a Wii U game? I don't remember seeing that in the list. But then again, the list I saw was pretty small. It had, like, 10 to 15. I don't know. Better? Didn't the thing not really work?
Oh, I was expecting a lot of errors. Don't worry. The fact that I went this far down my code makes me more than happy.
Awesome. I would put a comma after the first O. I mean, I guess there's only one O, but, you know, the one at the very beginning. I didn't really do anything, but you're welcome anyways. You really haven't changed at all, comma, have you? I would like the comma at least. You were like this back in middle school, too.
Middle school. Oh my. It's really been quite a while, hasn't it?
Especially with the way that she's reading it, I would just do like middle school ellipsis, capital O. That's the way I'd do it. Like, obviously, middle school on its own is not a complete sentence, a complete thought. But, Middle school, comma, oh my, comma, it's really been quite a while. Like, that definitely isn't a thing either. So I would just do the middle school, trail off, capital O for the oh my. There you go. You're doing a game called Fox and Forest. I've never heard of that. That's interesting. Well, cool. Maybe you should send me something of that just so I can have some vague idea of what you're talking about.
I remember you were just this short, quiet kid, just like me.
I would put a comma after short and a comma after kid. I remember you were just this short, comma, quiet kid, comma, just like me.
You would set your crayons on the heater to watch them melt, and the teacher would get so mad.
I wonder if that dash is necessary, because I don't know what's interrupting her. I'm also going to Google whether or not crayons is a proper noun, because I don't recall. Nope, crayon seems pretty good. A pencil or stick of colored chalk or wax used for drawing. Look at that. Okay, cool. I've just been surprised recently by like what's actually a proper noun, you know, with some of those things like styrofoam. I didn't realize until recently that that was proper, you know, and I learned a good while ago that like jacuzzi is a proper noun, like Xerox, popsicle. I'm pretty sure popsicle was a proper noun too, and that surprised me a lot. Oh, did you link me? Link me on Discord. Yeah, anything here is gonna be blocked, but like, if you want to send me a link on Discord, I can look at it later. Cool. You would set your crayons on the heater to watch them melt, and the teacher would get so mad. I think if you're looking at like really, in a really stickler manner, at the rules of grammar, you would have a comma after melt as well. But I don't mind it the way it is right now, honestly. I do wonder still if that needs to be an M dash at the end or just like a period.
Also, I remember the one time that some of my friends...
Sorry, I cut off her dialogue. I apologize for that. I didn't think about it. But you don't need the M dash at the end there because that's a complete thought. And then nothing's interrupting her. She's just moving on to another thought. So just, you would set your crayons on the heater to watch them melt and the teacher would get so mad, period. Just like that. Also, I remember the one time, I'd consider a comma after also. I remember the one time that some of my friends thought you were cute and were talking about making you their boyfriend. What? I could have had a relationship? But when they confessed...
You were so silly that you didn't even know what they were talking about.
So silly. Comma after confessed.
Oh yeah, you also kinda just tried to make everyone your friend. Even the mean kids who tried to bully you.
'Cause I was awesome.
I think they found you too awkward to even bully. Well, maybe they felt bad you were trying so hard? And...
That's kind of like me, honestly. Like, I didn't have, like, huge bullies, but just, you know, when people were kind of being pricks, like, I wouldn't respond in the way that they might want. But again, they were, like, soft core, like, real soft core. It's just, again, like, people being rude or, like, making snarky comments, and then I would just, like, I'd just be friendly with them and play along a little bit, you know, whatever. I think they found you too awkward to even bully. Well, maybe they felt bad you were trying so hard, and let's see if we need this one. I mean, it seems like it because this is definitely not a complete thought. Yeah, so just make that an M dash instead is what I would do. I see her let out a small nervous laughter as she tugs at the collar of her shirt. Yeah, that should change. I see her let out a small, nervous laugh. You don't need laughter, because there's not a laughter, you know? You could have, like, a small nervous bit of laughter, but not just a small nervous laughter. So I see her let out a small, I'd put a comma, nervous laugh as she tugs at the collar of her shirt. Frankly, I can hardly remember much of what she was talking about, but if what she was saying was true, then I sounded like a real pushover. Nia was the only one I really got along well. Nia was the only one I really got along well at my old school. Obviously, that should be like, got along with well. If you even need well, you could just say Nia was the only one I really got along with at my old school. But if you want to emphasize got along with well, yeah. But got along well, I'm pretty sure that doesn't mean anything. In fact, I would say she was basically my only friend back then. We would hang out during recess and lean under an old apple tree, talking about who we wanted to be when we grew up. Technically, I don't think it should be would, it's just we hung out during recess and leaned under an old apple tree kind of thing. Just because I feel, you know, would makes it conditional, so it's like, if this, then this, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it is in English. But obviously, like, a ton of people use it this way, But I just think technically it's not. It shouldn't be. You know, and it should just be like past or past participle instead. Talking about who we wanted to be when we grew up. I distinctly remember her enthusiasm when it came to computers. She loved games and all sorts of electronics. Get rid of that comma. She loved games and all sorts of electronics. She would break them down and try to explain how they worked and try to put them back together again. Yeah, I'd get rid of both of the commas in this chunk here. Just, she loved games and all sorts of electronics. She would break them down and try to explain how they worked and try to put them back together again. Because the last part, try to put them back together again, is not a complete sentence. Like, it's not an independent clause. And so it shouldn't be treated, you know, with that coordinating conjunction and comma as its own sentence. It should just be merged in with the other one. For as someone as young as she was back then, I was smart enough to know that she was pretty smart What? Hold on, I gotta wrap my brain around this one. So, get rid of the first as. For someone as young as she was back then, I was smart enough to know that she was pretty smart herself. See, that doesn't make sense either. So, yeah, still get rid of the first as. But, like, the issue is that the first part, we're talking about her, and then we're immediately talking about Felix, and then we're talking about her again, and jumping back and forth kind of messes it up, so. So, I mean, it would be like, for someone as young as I was smart enough to know that she was pretty smart herself. Like, that's more what I think it should be. For someone as young as I was back then, I was smart enough to know, you know. Even then, I don't love that. But maybe just like, despite being as young as I was back then, I was smart enough to know that she was pretty smart herself. I think that that's more what you're getting at, and I think that makes a lot more sense. So I would consider fiddling with, I mean, I would definitely fiddle with this. I'd definitely change some things. But just consider your options. And as those distant memories slowly came through to me, I could faintly remember wanting to be a superhero and help Nia make her gadgets to defeat the forces of evil. As those distant memories slowly came through to me, comma, I could faintly remember wanting to be a superhero and help Nia make her gadgets to defeat the forces of evil. So yeah, that's all I do with this bit. Just put a comma after me before I could faintly. Or a mad scientist. We both wanted to be a mad scientist and argued who would be the assistant. Get rid of that comma after scientist. If she were to ask me who I wanted to be when I grew up now, I'm not sure how I would answer. Also, I feel like it's usually what do you want to be, not who do you want to be. Like in this context, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's not who do you want to be when you grow up. Like, I want to be Elvis, you know, like that doesn't work. And so, you know, you could say that as if you're younger, maybe just to like emphasize the fact that they're not as smart. But I think it's more what you want to be when you grow up. Because then it's the general, like, you know, a computer programmer, an artist, a photographer, a teacher, whatever. Yeah, those were the good days. Sometimes I miss that little school. I miss the things we would get up to as well. Nia's eyes light up and her cheeks curl into a small smile. Her cheeks curl into a smile? Not like her lips curl into a small smile? I know that your cheeks move when you smile, but I feel like typically it's your lips that are curling into a smile.
Yeah, I agree. I miss having someone to upload my ideas on. You were the perfect listener, and your suggestions always worked.
Also, she's really quiet, and just to look at the menu again, like my audio, like sound effects and ambience, I think that's how you can say it. Anyway, those are both like at 50 or around there. Background music looks more like 60-ish to 70-ish, right? Like that's not super high either, and voice is all the way, but she's still like so quiet, relatively speaking. I would consider maybe boosting her up if that's a consistent issue just with her character. Because like if the music were all the way up, like you'd hardly hear her, I imagine. Anyway, and obviously tildes, those are not like typical bits of punctuation. So how you use them, it depends on you. This is how I personally would use them, but again, there are like really no rules of that. I personally, if it would end in a period, then I just omit the period. So like how you have yeah, that's how I would do it. I don't put them with like next to commas. Like I wait until the end of a sentence, basically. If I have it before, like, if it's with a question, I would do last word, tilde immediately after it, question mark immediately after that. Same thing with exclamation point. But there just really aren't rules for that because it's definitely not standard punctuation for writing. So, you know, do what you want to do with that. I miss having someone to offload my ideas on. You were the perfect listener, and your suggestions always worked. I don't know about offload. I just, like, never see or hear that. But it's fine. Yep, offload is totally fine. Cool. Going back to the game. Every time I gotta, like, bring up my Twitch chat and then the game again, so it's clicking.
Oh, right. That reminds me. I haven't even told you what I'm developing here.
That's true, you haven't.
This is something I'm pretty passionate about, and that I've been working on for a very long time.
Yeah?
Here, let me restore my work to a previous working flow.
Good plan. Wait, but like as a separate thing? You don't want to lose progress, do you? As Nia worked, I can't help but look over the books she's been reading. Also, sorry, No! I didn't mean to do that. As Nia worked, I can't help but look over the book she's reading. I resist this just because you have worked being past and then can't help but look is all present. So, as Nia works, I can't help but look over the book she's reading, or as Nia worked, I couldn't help but look over the book she's reading. Yeah. Machine Learning for Dummies, Algorithmic Analysis, Intelligent AIs, and other books of similar caliber. I didn't get to see these because I accidentally clicked through. You should italicize the titles of books. So if that's at all possible within your program, I would do it. Italicize the titles of books, but you put in quotations the titles of like short stories or poems or like chapters. You put in quotation marks the titles of songs, but you italicize like album names or collections of poetry. So basically, big works, italicize, movies, but then put scenes in quotation marks, like the names of scenes. Big works you italicize, smaller works you put in quotation marks. That's how that goes. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure caliber's fine, right? I'll Google it just so I don't have to worry about that. Caliber. Yep, the quality of someone's character or the level of their ability. And I assume that you can also just use that with like books. Like, the caliber of something else. I assume. I'm cool with it. Those books look pretty tough.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying learning the material a lot. It's been fun making progress on my project.
Oh, for sure.
I started it during my freshman year of high school.
Nice. That would be right after she transferred. Of course I wouldn't know about this. So what is it? Tell me all about it. Am I actually excited about this? You don't need that comma, just, am I actually excited about this all the way through? I guess she still has that effect on me.
It's an AI that you can talk to.
Oh.
It feeds on your input and then builds itself a compatible personality you can talk to.
I see. Now, it's hard because it's already been voice acted, and I don't want to, take away from that. And it is dialogue too, and so repetition can just be a part of characterization, but the fact that it's an AI that you can talk to, personality you can talk to, just having you can talk to, again, the same phrase or word repeated, especially close to one another, it just can sound a little bit awkward.
I actually have a working prototype, and if I put my mind to it and buckle down, I seriously think I can release a commercial build before the end of the school year.
Wow, that'd be awesome. I'd put a comma after prototype. But yeah, cool, good for you.
Just think of the applications. All of the people this could help. It would basically be a pocket therapist that you could always rely on. A cure for social anxiety.
That would be really cool. I'm gonna Google school year really quick, going back to the last line, just to see. Because I'm pretty sure in some cases it can be one word. And so I just want to make sure that that's not more applicable here. I thought as one word it was more like an adjective, and it seems like that's the case. School year with a space seems more appropriate here. So good job. Okay.
People who struggle to keep friends or just have any other sort of social anxieties can learn how to interact with others by talking to a fictional character.
Quite possibly, yeah, if it were sophisticated enough.
I decided to call this Project Blue with the motto, when you're feeling blue, you know who to go to.
Nice. However, I would use a comma after motto instead of a colon. That's what I'd say. Decided to call this Project Blue with the motto, comma, when you're feeling blue, you know who to go to. Immediately, I have my doubts. I'd say a comma after immediately. I'm not sure how an AI could ever help cure the pain people go through. Just put an R in there so it's actually through instead of though. You know, could ever cure the pain people go through. I doubt an AI could ever help me, but the idea of having a pocket therapist sounds good in theory. So, what's left for you to do?
I need to build it out some more, and I need to test each build that I release. Testing all the time tends to get in the way of my development time, so... I need to build it out some more, and I need to test each...
Is it just gonna keep looping?
Testing all the time tends to get in the way of my development time, so...
Nope. Just goes through two. Were those two different takes? I wonder if those were two different takes of the same line that you forgot to separate. But yeah, I need to build it out some more, comma, and I need to test each build that I release. Testing all the time tends to get in the way of my development time, so... Yeah, time twice in a row, which is, again, iffy, but yeah, I get it. But yeah, I'd put a comma after more, just because I need to build it out some more. Complete sentence, awesome. I need to test each build that I release. Complete sentence, awesome. And so that's where you typically want, you know, like a comma, coordinating conjunction like and then you're good.
I know. Why don't you be the tester?
That should be a question mark at the end. Like, I know, exclamation point. Why don't you be the tester, question mark? Because it's a question. It's why, you know. I M dash.
Sorry. I understand that you have your life and all. Maybe I shouldn't have sprung that on you.
After all, I'd just have it be a period. I don't think a dash is too appropriate there. Maybe I shouldn't have sprung that on. I mean, you can have like a semicolon or something too, but I don't think an M dash is your best bet. Maybe I shouldn't have sprung that on you. Unless I'm going to jump up and be like, no, it's fine, it's alright, you know. I don't think you need the M dash at the end either, because again, it's a complete thought. Maybe I shouldn't have sprung that on you. It seems like it's more appropriate to be an ellipsis in that case, just, you know, dot, dot, dot. Trailing off. Yeah, see, there's no interruption, so I'd just have it be a trailing off ellipsis. At least she understands I might be busy.
Without inviting you to lunch first?
Yeah, I definitely think the dash is more appropriate now that I know that there was just a break for me to have that thought and then for her to continue on. But I still think it would probably be better to have it end with an ellipsis and then begin this one with an ellipsis as well. Without inviting you to lunch first. Let me just make sure that that actually lines up. Maybe I shouldn't have sprung that on you without inviting you to lunch first. Yeah, see that it does line up. I would still think an ellipsis instead of the dashes though.
Here, hand me your phone. I'll put in my number.
Cool. Without much say in the matter, I hand over my phone. Her fingers furiously type in her digits, faster than I've seen anyone text before. When she's done, she hands me back my phone and fixes her glasses.
Let's figure out a time we're both free and get lunch at this cafe near campus.
Sounds good.
It has a great atmosphere, and I can tell you more about Project Blue in case you're interested.
Let's see, it has a great atmosphere, and I can tell you more about Project Blue in case you're interested. Consider a comma after atmosphere, but I don't think it's necessary in this case, just because it has a great atmosphere is not very long. If your sentences are not too long in these kinds of cases, then you can just have them straight, you know, like without the comma, just straight go into the next one. So kind of personal preference, kind of aesthetic, kind of the flow. You know, because without a comma, some people might read it straight through a little bit more than if there was a comma, where it would introduce like a natural brief pause. So, you know, up to you. Nia tilts her head happily and stares into my eyes for just a moment, seemingly forgetting what she was doing until... her phone buzzes. Since you have the ellipses, I'm inclined to think that it's supposed to just trail one into the other, so I would actually make her lowercase in this case. If you didn't have... I didn't mean to click there. If you didn't have the until, if you just had seemingly forgetting what she was doing, then I would totally have her phone buzzes be capitalized, but because one's trailing into the other, I'm inclined to think they're the same sentence, so her should not be capitalized. Taking the device out of her pocket, her eyebrows raise and she stands up. This should be changed a little bit too, because her eyebrows did not take the device out of her pocket, but that's how it currently reads. It would be like, instead, she took the device out of her pocket and her eyebrows rose and she stood up. Which, that sounds clunky because then there are those three actions, but you could do like, taking the device out of her pocket, she perked up, and she stands up. Yeah, I think this whole sentence should be rewritten. Just because, the way, again, with the first two bits, taking the device out of her pocket, her eyebrows raise. Then it seems like the eyebrows were the subject of the first part, and her eyebrows wouldn't take a device out of her pocket. But then the ways that I've been considering changing them they sound awkward with, and she stands up. So maybe if you just separate those into two sentences, like, she took the device out of her pocket and perked, she stood up, whatever, that would be better. But just play around with this. Make sure that, there aren't, like, those ambiguous moments. Like, who's taking the device out of her pocket kind of thing. And yeah, make sure it all sounds good. Read it out loud to yourself, all that.
Anyways, I'm gonna call it a day. I've still got tons of homework to take care of, and my sister's going to kill me if I fall even a little bit behind.
Consider a comma after care of. I've still got tons of homework to take care of, period. My sister's going to kill me if I fall even a little bit behind. Just because, again, those are two complete sentences, so you should technically have a comma before the coordinating conjunction. Nia shut down the computer and threw open her bag, stuffing it to the brim with all of her notebooks, textbooks, and journals.
I'll talk to you later, okay?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
It was really nice to see you again.
Looking forward to it, ... Like, seems like I don't look forward to it all that much. Same. I mean, it seems like Felix really does look forward to it. So I would just looking forward to it, period, because the ellipsis seems a little bit misleading in that case. Well, I guess I'll need to figure out whether or not I want to help her out. I've got my own problems to worry about, but sometimes you can get an answer to your own problems by solving someone else's. Speaking of other people's problems, I still have Yuria's notebook. It's in my bag, but I'll have to remember to give it back tomorrow. And now I've also got plans with Nia. It's been a while, so I'm really looking forward to it. Consider a comma after while. For now, though, and the same thing with this, I consider a comma after now. For now, comma, though, comma, I want nothing more than to not go back to my apartment. Oh, you don't want to go back. Okay. This campus is located right next to a bunch of local attractions, making it the perfect area to kill time. I'll just walk around for a few hours and then catch a train home. Fair enough. I love going home. It's not every day that I get to wander around town after school. It's always evening by the time my classes are over. I really should do this more often. If there's anything that I'm grateful for, it's the city. Again, I'd make that an M dash. M as in mango. Because there's always somewhere new to go. Now I say that, but it's, E-M space dash. It's just, for when you look it up. It's the city. Because there's always somewhere new to go. Yep. Shops and lamps light up the evening. I walk past other strollers, who are all lost in their leisure. Some of them are lost in their leisure. Some of them are queued up at the more popular food stands. Others have taken up residence on the benches scattered around the park. And here I am, just trying to figure things out. The school year just started, M dash, but here I am, already dreading tomorrow. Pathetic. My bag isn't even that heavy. Still, there's a weight on my shoulders that I can't quite explain. I don't know why, but I just feel hollow. You can italicize! Ha! Checkmate. So I would just go back, because again, I don't know if you did, I skipped it, but if you didn't, then I would italicize the book titles that you mentioned earlier. Hollow, like I'm only going through the motions. The days are getting warmer because summer isn't far off. Maybe the weather is getting to me, and really quickly too, I don't think that any of those, like again, they're just hyphens right now. I would make them actual M dashes, but those that you just used were, to my knowledge, all used correctly. However, they were used like in pretty rapid succession, like just kind of one after the other. And so consider adding a little bit more variation just to keep things fresh. So, you know, you don't want people to get tired of any punctuation that they see. Like, you know, commas, periods, question marks, those tend to go rather under the radar. But when you have, you know, like dashes, colons, semicolons, people tend to notice those a little bit more. And so if you have like too many in a row, then people can be like, all right, I get it, you know. So just keep that in mind. That could be it. That could be it. Just get rid of the first it. Worse yet, it's going to rain today. But I doubt it's that simple. I just want everything to stop, if only for a little while. Is it so wrong to want a break, some time to myself, to want to put everything on hold and find who I am? Maybe it is. I reach the end of the street. There aren't as many shops here, so it doesn't see a lot of visitors. In the farthest corner, there's a bookstore that I used to go to. They've since gone out of business, but wouldn't hurt to look at the building, would it? Who knows? Maybe it's only temporary. This is a little bit trickier, because who knows is a question. It just is. That's just what it is. You know, like a lot of people put a question mark at the end of I wonder statements, right? But those are statements, they're not questions. So when people put a question mark at the end of those, it's wrong. It just is. Like, it might be used in dialogue in order to give the proper tone. Like, if they actually have a rising intonation. Like, well, no, because that'd be dumb. It'd be like, I wonder where the dog is? You know, that's what a question mark, like, implies. So it's still just wrong. Like, if that's how it would be read, and no one says it like that. But who knows? That's a question. I don't think it's a statement. I think it's a question, and so it should have a question mark. But I get it. Like, I get it. I'm still inclined, though, to do who knows question mark. Maybe even who knows ellipsis question mark if you wanted that, like, hesitation or that, you know, just that kind of, like, trailing off with it. But, yeah. I hesitate with where it is now. And then I would capitalize maybe. I mean, either way, I would capitalize maybe. But, yeah. It'd be pretty stupid of them to come back here after going bankrupt, though. But I kinda miss going there all the time. To my surprise, I find an open sign on the door. Are they actually back? I catch my breath, my heart beating a little faster. I quicken my pace and memories flash by as I go. As you go? What do you mean? Memories of flipping through the first 10 pages of every book to see if I would like it. Memories of judging books by their covers, usually by comparing them to tacky ones, or usually by comparing the tacky ones to the more serious ones. Memories of checking titles off my wish list. Harpy makes this unsettling. All of her tips. All of her recommendations. All of her favorites. All of her memories. Ah! Hey, you! Alright, where should we go? I guess we're in a memory now.
We don't really need a destination. Just being together should be good enough.
Awesome.
Oh, there is a bookstore nearby I haven't been to in a while.
Going back really quickly, capitalize we. Yup. Though there is a bookstore nearby I haven't been to in a while.
If you don't mind going there, I'd like to stop by.
Comma after there. Alright, lead the way.
Don't worry, it's not too far. Just a little bit more, and we'll be at the store.
Cool. Did you make that rhyme on purpose?
Maybe. Say,
Capitalize say.
what kind of books do you like?
Capitalize say. I'm not a big fan of reading. If it's not an assigned book for school, I don't touch it.
That just means you haven't found the right one for you.
Yeah. She's really optimistic about me enjoying something I dislike. The way she doesn't let anything bring her down is one of her strong points, and one of the reasons why I was so interested in her. You don't need the comma there, I don't think, after strong points. Let's see, the way she doesn't let anything bring her down is one of her strong points, and one of the reasons why I was so interested. Yeah, you don't need that comma. I'm pretty sure. Byakua's, one of the reasons why I was interested in her is a dependent clause. It is not a complete sentence on its own. So this bookstore, did you used to go there a lot as a kid? I'd put a colon. I'd put a colon. I don't recommend colons a whole ton, but that's what I do. So this bookstore, colon, capitalized did. I mean, you don't have to, but I would. Did you used to go there a lot as a kid? Oh, shoot. Is used to go correct? Or is it used? Used to go. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Did you? Okay, I think that's correct from what I'm seeing here. Used instead of used. Let me look up real quick, hold on. Let's see, when the statement is positive, the expression is used to. In negative statements, the expression is used to. That's what this is saying. Huh. So if that's the case, then it actually would be used. Right? Did you used to go? No, because this isn't positive or negative, it's just a question. This isn't a statement, that's a question. Did you used to go? I'm inclined to say that that's correct. I'm inclined to say that it's correct as it is. But then if she said, yes, I used to go. Or no, I didn't use to go. Now, okay. That's what I'm going with. Anyway, bringing back up the chat.
Yeah. When I was little, I used to read there all the time. It was my one and only hobby.
Cool. So I think used there is correct. Well done. I would consider making yeah its own sentence, just yeah period, capitalized when I was little, comma, I used to read all the time. At the very least, put a comma after little, but I think that separating yeah and when I was as their own sentences, I think that's the way to do it.
Speaking of which, what do you like to do for fun?
Me? Oh, I'd consider a comma after O. I should just list generic things that don't make me sound like a total loser. Mentioning that I watch anime is a surefire way to never be spoken to again. I mustn't waste this precious chance. I like working out, playing games, and watching movies. I mumbled a bit, but at least what I said was generic enough. I put a comma after bit. I think I spoke a little too fast there, but hopefully she understood. As I was looking away, Mima had wrapped her arm around mine, linking us together. Ah, she's closer.
Kinda quiet, but now I think I can hear you.
Good, Mima, good.
So, what did you say you liked?
I repeat myself, but I try to sound a little more dignified this time.
Oh, working out. I like to run. In fact, every night I go for a jog.
Cool.
Games. I play a few, but mostly on my phone. There's this idle game I'm into. I'll show you later.
Let's see. There's this idle game I'm into, I'll show you later. I'm not inclined to say that's necessarily wrong. I think I would like it better if it were, there's this idle game I'm into that I'll show you later. But like, especially with the way that she actually read it, just like if you listen to her, you know, the voice actors speak, it would be, there's this idle game I'm into, like semicolon, I'll show you later. Like the way that she said it, they're two separate sentences. So I'd be inclined to make those two separate sentences. If you want to use a semicolon, if you want to just do, there's this idle game I'm into, period, I'll show you later. I think that would be better.
I like movies too. We should go see one together. Got any you want to watch?
How do you feel about horror movies?
I love them. We should go see one sometime together. There's this one about a Reaper in theaters right now.
Crap, my plan backfired. I was hoping she would say she hates them so I could bring up something like a kid's movie I'd been wanting to see, but looks like that failed. Also a Reaper? What are the odds? Okay, back I go.
Oh, we're here.
Oh, look at that. I reach the shop and look inside. Digital Photography Exchange. I assume it's just digital. Okay, is that a book title though? Oh, of course the bookstore is gone for good. What did I expect? Oh, right, we're back in present time. Okay. So now it's a camera shop, huh? I find myself staring at some of their bigger equipment through the window. How can anyone afford it? Yeah, I don't think... You didn't use one of these bits of punctuation before, have you? I think this is the first time there's been like a mix of exclamation point and question mark. I personally like to have the question mark first, because I feel like that's the leading like intonation or whatever, the leading meaning of it, because like ultimately it's a question. It's just a question said with force. And so to me, personally, I like having question marks first. But those are also like, I think this is the first time you use it, so that's good. But those are some things, that's a thing you'd want to use sparingly, is what I'm trying to say. Tap, tap. Some guy in an apron taps on the glass, grinning at me from inside the store. Crap, I've been noticed. Well, I might as well play the part and check the rest of their stuff out. Hello, Mr. Customer. What are you wanting? His name tag reads as Mr. Jital. I suppose he owns the place. Okay. I was trying to think of what the title of the store was, but it was D' Jital, right? Yeah. So that's fine. However, something to consider. And now, again, your studio name is, I believe, French, correct? What was it? Malheur Games? Which, again, misfortune if I'm correct. And so this probably doesn't apply to you if that's the case. With, like, the American way to do it is basically all punctuation, or not all punctuation, but in this case at least, the period would go inside that single quotation mark. But, yeah, if you are not American, then just make sure that you look up whatever your rule is and be consistent with it. That's all I'll say there. Wow, my ear hurts and it's itchy. I hate that combination so much. Oh, because usually, so I have my beanie on, right? But then I have this headband that you can see here. And they're like sleep phones, right? And so the idea is that you wear the headband, it has like earphones inside of it, and they're relatively thin, and so you can like rest your head on a pillow and it won't hurt. And so like, when I'm recording like this, because I want to wear my beanie so you don't have to see my like shaved head, I have it just over my headphones. But I was also at work like this, and just over time it hurts my ears. No one needs to know that. But I told you anyway. His name tag reads Mr. Tal. I suppose he owns a place. Was that an ellipsis? It was, okay. I couldn't... For a second, I thought there might have just been two. I'm just looking. Look! Ah, there is discount opening. Is that the word? Again, M dash. I know I haven't said that every time, but just, just so you know. You mean an opening discount. Ah, thank you. The language is solid. Do you mean hard? Hard. So how long has this place been open? 9 to 7. Only 2 hours before closing our discount openings. I would just write them out like 9 and 7 instead of using the numerical like versions, I guess, here. Generally, I think that's better. Like even if it were 9:30, I'd just do like 9-30. Typically, I think it's better. Especially if you're starting the sentence with it. I meant, what date did you start operating here? Oh, date! Last week, yes, has been 6 days. Good for him, I guess? But a camera shop in this part of town, is that really going to work out well for him? I feel like I want to capitalize the is. I know that but a camera shop in this part of town is not a complete sentence, but the next one is. This is a complete sentence, so I'd capitalize that. Bells clang as the glass door opens. A customer comes striding in. Bells clang as the glass door opens, and a customer walks in, without even punctuation. So that's clearly just a case of you had 2 different versions and you forgot to delete one of them. Let's see. I'm gonna skip to the next part just so we can look in the log, see them like back to back, you know? Wow. She has like demon eyes. That's interesting. It's just like the gradient and the colors that are used and like the lack of like dark pupil. Interesting. Anyway. So bells clang as a glass door opens. A customer comes striding in. Bells clang as a glass door opens and a customer walks in. I actually like the second one better. I prefer that. I'd of course put a period at the end. But aside from that, yeah, so you decide, just pick one of them, whichever one you prefer. My preference, I believe, is the second one, as long as, again, you just fix the period. But yeah, do something with it. Hey, Miss All, good evening. Good evening, Ms. Customer. Order is good.
Already? That's so quick. I knew this place was great.
Thank you, Ms. Customer. You wanting new tripod? New tripod has a... He looks over at me and grins. An opening discount! This is another case, since it's clearly one thing leading into the next. He even had the ellipsis at the end. I'd put an ellipsis here, and lowercase the an. I'm glad he gets to use the phrase I just taught him so quickly.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Let me take a look at that one.
Also, her ribbons are the thing. Like, those are what move. That's interesting. Let me take a look at that one. Okay. Here you go, 15% discount.
Really? That's too kind of you.
No, discount! Good customer for sharing news about discount openings.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Detal. You can always count on me for exposure.
Exposure, cause cameras. The shopkeeper grins from ear to ear as the girl inspects the tripod in her hands. Looks like this place is going to do well after all. I can tell because there's one customer in here along with me. What about you, Mr. Customer? What are you wanting? Nothing, thanks. I'm good. Okay, Mr. Customer. Good night. Now, honestly, this is something that I've been wondering about in my personal time, like my own free time. Like, good night as 2 words versus good night as 1 word. I'm inclined to use good night as 2 words, as you did. However, like, obviously you should if you're like, have a good night. That's definitely 2 words. But if you're just saying good night, I wonder if then it's supposed to be 1 word, you know? I'm Googling that now. Expressing good wishes on parting at night or before going to bed. Either one is acceptable according to Google. Good night with a space or good night without. Let's see. If you're going to write a farewell to someone at night or address a farewell to someone in writing, use the 2-word variant, good space night. But if you're talking about the noun or noun adjective, use the 1-word form, good night. The noun? 1 word good night? I don't know about that. Because then I would just think that the noun is night and good is just the adjective modifying it. I don't see good night as being a noun on its own. Unless you're saying, like, his good night was a little abrupt, don't you think? Then I could see good night as being 1 word, as a noun. Because you're specifically referring to, like, their farewell. Or, you know, their exclamation, their well-wishing. Interesting stuff, isn't it? Oh, grammar. Okay, anyway. Let's move on. Did I ever, like, pull that down again? When I briefly saw it in my webcam. It seemed like it was high. Anyway, nice guy. I'll definitely come back if I ever need a camera. It's getting late, and it looks like it's finally about to rain. I should head back.
Hey! Hey, you!
It's me! Now here's another thing that's entirely a matter of personal preference. As far as I'm aware, I don't think there are necessarily rules to this. But I at least think that it's cool to have, like, consistency in general is important, right? I'm sure that we can agree on that. I think that it's cool to even have consistency when you're holding out letters. Like here you have hey with 3 Y's, right? And then earlier you had an and with like 6 or 7 A's, I think it was. And so, like, again, I don't think there are rules to it just because it's not a thing that you would have in standard writing anyway. But, like when I hold things out, for instance, I hold things out for 4 counts. Like 4 letters. And so if I'm typing God, right? I do G-O-O-O-O-D. If I'm typing good, I do G-O-O-O-O-O-D. Because then I'm still being consistent within only adding 4 letters, but there is also that distinction, like that clarity between like God and good, or other things that you would find like that. Like there are other words, I'm sure. And so like you might find your own little pattern, but some way to be consistent might be it just might contribute a little bit to it. It might make it look a little bit cleaner overall if even when you hold things out, there's like some sort of rule that readers can recognize involved in it, you know? The girl from earlier peeks out from behind the glass door.
You forgot your bag.
Oh, thank you. Why'd I set it down? Oh, thanks. Sorry about that.
No problem. Always happy to help a fellow Lima student.
Awesome. Her bag also has a Lima sticker on it. I placed mine on my bag so that if it ever got lost, someone would know where to return it. But to think it would actually work. I think it's fine. The stickers have our graduating years on them too, so I guess she's a year older than me. She sort of looks familiar. I must have passed her in the halls more than once.
I'm Cammy. Nice to meet ya.
Hello, Cammy. I'm Felix. Thanks again. She holds out her hand, which I take for a quick handshake.
Felix, that has a nice ring to it.
Capitalize that. Yeah. She's not letting go.
Hey, Felix, could you do me a little favor? I promise it'll be quick.
Let me know what it is first. I guess?
Now, I just need to interview you about your experience at this shop.
Oh dear.
It's for this plaza's advertising campaign, you see. You're not camera shy, are you?
Does camera shy need a hyphen? Googling it. Camera shy. Yep. Cool. Now we know. Not really.
Great. Stand over there by the entrance. Thanks. I really owe you one.
Now, thanks, I really owe you one, are technically two different sentences. Typically, I'd be fine with how it is now. Just thanks, I really owe you one. But she did actually say it as though they were two sentences. So, I might just change it. Thanks, period. I really owe you one. Something like that, you know? She finally lets go of my hand. Her grip is really firm. Maybe was, just because she just let go. I don't know. Actually, we'd be even because of the bag.
Oh, that's right.
Cammy pulls out a camcorder, which beeps as she turns it on. Cammy, camcorder, camera. I get it.
So, if you'll kindly move over there...
Where'd all this foliage come from? Also, I wonder if this image was photo bashed. I learned a new term recently. Can I move over there? Here?
Yeah, there. Just a little more to the left. I'm trying to add the shop name in the shot.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is kind of exciting, to be honest.
All right. 5, 4, 3.
Again, consider actually writing them out instead of using the numerals here.
All right. 5, 4, 3. Mr. Felix, how was your experience at the Digital Photography Exchange?
So, we had 543, but then she started this line with 543 as well. Again, I think that's just a matter of cleaning up the takes, like remove the previous one or this one, whichever. I mean, I guess you'd remove this one because you actually have the text of all right 543 in the previous one. But yeah, that's not a huge, that's just missing something. No problem. How was your experience at Digital Photography Exchange? Now that I think about it, I didn't buy anything. How am I supposed to know? Cammy nods at me expectantly, then her mouth starts moving.
Say something nice.
Right! They offer quality service, and they do repairs on time too.
Great. Would you recommend this shop to your...
Do you guys see that? Do you guys see that? That's an M dash. They used an M dash here, which means that they definitely have the capability of using that M dash every other time I told them they should use an M dash. The times where there were two hyphens, the times where there were one. Or there was one hyphen. You get what I'm saying. You have the capability, so now go back and make those edits at those appropriate moments. Can I show face?
Shh. Get back inside, Mr. Jatal.
Put a period after Mr. I think you were doing that with the Misters and Mrs. before, and that's how it should be. Oh, sorry. The door closes behind me. Yeah, see, you have a period after Mr. there, so that's good. The door closes behind me as Mr. Jatal retreats inside. Dash, M dash, to be specific, as opposed to an N dash, N as in Nancy, you know. Though I can tell he's still peeking through the door. Cammy shakes her head and licks her lips as the recording light fades. All of a sudden, there shines a shiny demon. All of a sudden, she starts giggling like crazy. I can't help but break into a radiant smile.
Sorry about that. I promise it'd be quick, but...
It's fine. It's no problem. Do you want to try again?
Oh, thanks. I guess now I do owe you one, huh?
I was like, where's the rest of it? Well, I was thinking, you should keep the old footage for bloopers. That'll make it seem genuine.
That was perfect for a blooper reel. Oh, I've always wanted to make one. Oh no!
Oh no, what? She looks at the sky wistfully, then back to me. I can see the cogs turning in her head as she hesitates.
The clouds aren't looking very good, are they?
Are they sick? Yeah, it's been like that for quite some time already.
Alright, Felix. One last shot and we'll be done. It'll be quick. I promise.
Right. You already said that before.
Oh, but please. You'll be doing me a real solid.
I thought I was fine with it already.
Go to waste, you know. Please.
I don't see a need to have the tilde breaking up the please. Like, I could see it if she voiced it differently, but there was no break in it. It was just a please, like a normal please. There wasn't like any musicality to it. There wasn't like a break to make it, you know, have more syllables or anything. So I'd just get rid of that first tilde. And then again, like with, extending letters, you do what you want to do. I do like that you were consistent with the exclamation point and question mark. If that's how you're going to do it, awesome. Just keep doing it that way. Hey, have a little self-respect. You're the upperclassman here. She's so close that I can smell her perfume. All right, I get it. I'll just be standing here, right?
Yes! That's it. Thanks a lot, Felix.
I got you, girl. No problem. I'm way too invested in this video to back out now anyway. How are you so invested in it? And beep! She was back to filming.
All right. Mr. Felix, what do you think about the digital photography exchange?
It's great. I return home, soaking wet. I can't believe it rained out of nowhere like that. I'm home, I call to no one. I call those words out into the hollow void of my apartment, but of course, no one replies. I live alone after all. Probably would have been a bad thing had someone reply. Then again, things weren't that different when I lived with my parents. I never really minded, but I've always sort of wondered what it would be like to hear a welcome back in return. It's a little embarrassing, but I used to imagine coming home to Mima like that. And then we'd ask each other about our days while we made dinner. Aw, that's sweet. Whatever, I'll just get a kettle of tea going and hope I'm not sick tomorrow. Let's see. There's a lot of tea options to choose from. I'd capitalize there. I think it's there are a lot of tea options. I understand because like there is a lot with lot being singular, but because it's a lot of options, you know, I think that's where it becomes the R. Let's Google it real quick. It'll be a learning experience for everyone. There is versus there are. Let's see. The choice between the phrases there is and there are at the beginning of a sentence is determined by the noun that follows it. Use there when the noun is singular, there is a cat. Use there are when the noun is plural, there are two cats. Well, I know that much. Okay, there is a lot versus there are a lot. Refining my search. There are a lot of animals is incorrect. Lot is the subject of the sentence and it is singular. Is goes with the singular object, are goes with the plural subject. Or singular subject, are goes with plural subject. There are lots is correct because the subject lots is plural. Okay, so that's correct then. There's a lot of tea options. Is because lot is singular. Cool. I suppose I could make my own boba to go with it as well. It's a simple process, really. First things first, everything needs to be warmed up. I take out the items I need and begin boiling some water. Now, while that's waiting, I'll go get changed. Perfect. I'm glad to have multiple of the same outfit for occasions just like this. I feel like these should be two separate sentences, the perfect and the I'm glad. Just maybe perfect, exclamation point, or perfect period. One of those. The last 24, I'd spell that out. Like, I personally would spell it out. I would do TWENTY -FOUR, hours. Have been nothing but eventful. I guess there's plenty of new opportunities for me to fulfill my contract. Now this one, though, I think would be R, because there are plenty. Wait, does is have its own? Or, I mean, plenty. Let's see, define plenty. There is plenty versus there are plenty. It depends on what there's plenty of. If it's singular, like space or water or love, then use the singular form of the verb. There is plenty of love to go around. If plenty is plural, gifts, apples, times, then the verb should be plural. There are plenty of girls. Okay, so that time, my argument for the last one does stand. So in this case, it is indeed there. I guess there are plenty of new opportunities for me to fulfill my contract. Heck yeah. Then again, if I go around thinking every girl I meet is an opportunity for a relationship, then that just makes me desperate and delusional. Consider a question, or not a question mark, a comma after relationship. Capitalize still. I need to make progress somehow, but if I rush things, I'll just fail in every aspect. You can put a question... I keep doing that. A comma after things. Capitalize this.
Take your time, love. I can wait for you.
Do you mind at all the fact that in order to reach you, I have to, like, you know, develop a relationship with another girl? It didn't say it had to be a romantic relationship, granted, but that's what I thought it was. Mima. Ha, I'm doing it again. This probably isn't healthy. Capitalize this. I need to get her diary into the library, but I guess I better return the one I found today first. No use focusing on what isn't possible yet. Oh, the water is ready. Let's see. Add in the boba. Throw in the loose leaf tea leaves. Should it be loose leaf tea leaves? I don't make tea, so I'm not familiar with the terminology and stuff. But you might want like loose hyphen leaf and then tea leaves just for some clarification. Consider it. Google it. If you didn't notice, when I'm unsure about something, I Google it and I, use my best judgment to determine what's applicable and what's not. So I definitely recommend the same for everyone watching this. Whether you're creating a game or you're just doing an English paper, do it. Prepare the brown sugar and honey for the boba. Because then when you Google things, you learn and then you might retain that knowledge. So when you come across those issues in the future, you have some idea, Wait a bit for everything to be ready. Capitalize this. This is actually mostly just a process of waiting. And more waiting. Did the last one have an ellipsis? Yeah, technically. But eventually it's done. I mix the boba with honey and brown sugar, and once the tea is steeped enough, I transfer some of it into a metal shaker full of ice. I'd say a comma after enough. I throw in the boba and some ice cubes into a glass. No, I throw the boba and some ice cubes into a glass along with some milk, and so that it'll come along nicely. Okay, so I changed some things in this sentence. I'd get rid of the first in, so it's just I throw the boba and some ice cubes into a glass along with some milk, get rid of the and, so that it'll come along nicely. Okay, that's much better, I'd say. Next, I pour the now chilled tea into my glass and stir. Homemade boba, and it only took me an hour. An hour in which I could have used doing homework. Nope. An hour which I could have used doing homework, or an hour in which I could have done homework. You can't have both of those. Pick one thing that you're trying to say. So again, either an hour in which I could have done homework, or an hour which I could have used doing homework. But hey, at least I've got boba now. And also, and I realize and also was kind of redundant, but I'm talking, so it's fine. Homemade boba, it only took me an hour. You could use like a dash there again. An hour in which I could have used, you know what I mean. Either a dash or a colon, I'd say. You could technically leave it as is, but it's not correct. It would just be a stylistic thing. So, you decide. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but at least I'm able to enjoy my time right now. Even if I can only brew tea for myself. Tomorrow, huh? I put a comma after tomorrow. And I would definitely consider a question mark. Because, I feel like, typically denotes a question. you know? Like, there's always the, huh. Like, that kind of huh, and that's not really a question, but the way that it is here with the context, I feel like it's supposed to be. I'm actually looking forward to it. Ah, no, why? I don't want to get up, but I need to. Consider capitalization on those parts. I'm not entirely sure the intention behind it all, but like if it is its own sentence, capitalize, you know what I mean? I can always look at the slides online anyway. Yeah, exactly. There's no need for me to go. I'll just shut off my alarm. I don't like exactly there's no need for me to go. I want exactly to be its own sentence and then capitalize theirs. Because I feel like the exactly ties back too strongly to the yeah, you know? Yeah, exactly. There's no need for me to go. You know, read like that. I'll just shut off my alarm. What's this? It's still a bit hard for me to see, but I notice a notification on the phone screen through tired eyes. Clearly, notification should be notification, so that's just notification, notification. Just change that. Yeah, I don't think you need phone screen. Maybe just phone, maybe just screen. Maybe you don't need either. You know, you could just say, but I see a notification through tired eyes. Because, like, we don't see an alarm clock in this image, and so I think it's safe to assume that he is indeed using his phone as an alarm clock. And, you know, noticing a notification, I don't think that's going to throw too many people for a loop, but if you want to add that it's a phone or the screen for clarity, sure. But I don't know if you need both of them. Ugh, screw it. Oh, really quickly. Or maybe you could do like, but I noticed a notification on my phone screen through tired eyes, you know? Because then it's at least not just the phone screen. Ugh, screw it. I'd capitalize screw. I don't care if it's an emergency missile warning. I'm going back to sleep. You should probably care about that. What time is it? At some point in the afternoon, I managed to wake up again. I put a comma after afternoon. There's still some time before my next class. Capitalize maybe. I should at least go to this next one. Yeah, might as well. Even though I woke up late, I managed to arrive early, so the room is practically empty. Huh, what am I even doing here? Maybe I should skip. Capitalize what? As I go to leave, I spot the piano girl from yesterday coming towards the room. You know her name, it's Yuria. Our eyes meet for a moment, and I try to wave her down, but her gaze shoots downwards. It's like she didn't see me at all, or purposely avoided me. Or she's just choosing not to. Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. What? I was about to say there's finally a choice, but it's not a choice, because there's only one. So that's not actually like a decision, you know? I'll save anyway. There we go. I saved before my first decision. Begin reading her notebook in front of her. Can I not do that? Like, how is there not an option to not do that? If you're only going to have, like, one dialogue, like, one option, just don't have it be an option. Just have it read through the way that you've, you know, been doing it the entire time. Because this isn't even, like, an illusion of decision. You know? Like, it's not even that. I say illusion of decision because, like, there are a lot, one common thing to my knowledge that visual novels will do is they'll have like multiple like kind of dialogue options that you can choose from. And they have like a brief difference as far as like how the other person or people respond to you. But then it loops back and continues along the same storyline, right? And so it's like an illusion that you're actually making a decision because it ultimately doesn't impact the storyline, but it still technically gives you like maybe another bit of dialogue, like I said, something that's different. But here, with only one option, I feel like that kind of thing should be reserved for something that's supposed to have a lot of tension, you know, where it's supposed to be like, oh shoot, I don't even have a choice in this matter, you know? But we haven't had a single decision that we can make up to this point. So unless you're going to have multiple things like begin reading her notebook in front of her, don't do that. You know, like, and then maybe something else, maybe a fourth thing even. You shouldn't do that, just have it go straight through. It's my opinion. Begin reading through a notebook in front of her. Well, if she's going to be that way, this notebook can't be all that important. I'd consider a comma after well. If she's going to be that, well, yeah. She won't mind me taking a little peek then, will she? Why? What would make you think that? I head back to my desk to crack it open, in case I lose track of time and the professor shows up. I wouldn't. I'd actually get rid of that comma. Just, I head back to my desk to crack it open, in case I lose track of time and the professor shows up. Just straight through. I'm at the end of my rope. I know it's better for both of us that I get some time away from her. But I feel like I'm betraying everyone by running away. Is this in the book? If it is, I feel like there should be some distinction. Like, even if there's no, like, you know, there's no name, like it's not, you know, Yuria's journal or Yuria's diary or anything in, like, the blue tab there. Just have it be, like, in quotation marks, so it's at least set apart from the rest of the descriptive text. Because I had assumed that this was, you know, in the main character's head, in Felix's head. Because, you know, that's been a thing. But I don't think so. I'm at the end of my rope. I know it's better for both of us that I get some time away from her, but I feel like I'm betraying everyone by running away. But what choice do I have? I'm nothing but a failure. There's no way I could go back and face my family like this. So it's a dairy, huh? Change dairy to diary? I wonder.
Hey!
Hey, Yuria! Good to see you. Yuria comes storming towards me and slams her hands on my desk. Let me just make sure I did have an ellipsis. Yep. I hold my reading material out of reach. Hey, yourself.
Give it back, you thief!
She looks so happy saying that. Maybe if you weren't ignoring me, I could have. Hey, Felix, maybe don't be a douche nozzle, and if you actually want to give her the notebook, like, call out to her and be like, hey, sorry, I found this the other day. I think it belongs to you, instead of just being like, she ignored me. Must invade privacy. I don't feel bad for him at all in this. Like, she is totally in the right.
Anyone in their right mind would... How does that justify anything?
You're right, Yuria. It doesn't justify anything. But capitalize how? Because with the M dash, like, you're interrupting that current thought, replacing it with a new complete thought. So how does it justify anything? Should be capitalized. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And that prize is a one-way trip out of my classroom. Ah, crap. When did he come in? I invite you two to take the time today to review the university's code of conduct and come back when you're ready to behave like adults. First off, that professor's also a douche. Like, I'm pretty sure the university's code of conduct wouldn't be that bad. Because, like, nothing really happened. Like, she came over to me and was like, hey, give that back. And that's basically it. Like, she yelled one time. And to not even ask what the situation's about, to just be like, yeah, both of you go. Especially when in university, at least like in my university, attendance grades are a big deal. Like, you can miss 2 classes, 2 or 3, and then you start losing like a whole letter grade, you know? Which sucks. Like, it's so stupid. I hate it. But that's really harsh for this professor if it's anything similar. And I think he's crappy for not looking into it more. And if you want him to be crappy, that's fine. And if you want Felix to be stupid by reading the notebook, like having that be the only option and everything, that's fine. Just totally be aware of the fact that people like myself might think that these people are in the wrong. We will make judgments accordingly. Anyway, now that that interruption is out of the way, good morning. Today will be... So in the end, we both got kicked out of class on the second day of school. Talk about embarrassing. Surprisingly, Yuria hasn't stomped off yet. She keeps opening her mouth like she's going to say something and then closing it again. She looks like an old tea kettle. I'm expecting steam to start pouring out of her ears any minute now. And...
This is your fault, you know.
I do know. How is this my fault? You started snapping at me. Felix, shut up, you baby. Also, hello Jolteon, you're walking to Walmart while you watch. Cool. Make sure you be safe. Like, don't watch too closely, you know. Pay attention to the road, pay attention to strangers, stuff like that. And especially if you're walking a dog, pay attention to your dog. How's this my fault? You started snapping at me.
Because you stole my personal notebook and read it without permission, you creep. How did you even get your hands on it?
Ah, see, here's the spot where you put question mark, exclamation point. That's my preference. However, be consistent. So either choose this or choose exclamation point, question mark, and do that thing. She's angry, but at least we're talking now. I won't let her treat me like... Again, only one option. It, like, based upon how this looks, just with a flat bottom, it looks like you might be considering more options, and I definitely think you should have more options, but I assume maybe for the demo that you just want there to be one option just for a streamlined experience. Because, you know, demo, you don't want to build too much right off the bat, I assume. And then there isn't super, you know, too much variation for you to go through at least. So fair enough. But my previous stuff still stands. Make sure that, you know, by the time you release it, there are more choices. And honestly, I would like more choices even leading up to this because, granted, I stop a lot and I talk a lot about grammatical things like that, which I think are important, you know, for at least a clean, polished, professional project. And you want yours to be, right? You want yours to be as polished as possible. So I think it's valuable. But, like, I've been playing for, I think... Haven't I been playing for, like, 2.5 hours-ish? Not quite, I don't think, but around there. And, like, I barely got to my first, like, choices, even though, again, they're not choices in this case. I think there should be more interaction on the reader's part. Like, there doesn't have to be in a visual novel, but, like, that's my preference. I prefer to actually have a little bit more say, even, again, if it's just an illusion, even if I just get a little bit more dialogue and then the story is pretty streamlined and, like, railroaded in, I still think it's better. I won't let her treat me like this. But all she's been doing is being cold to me since the moment we met. Nuh-uh. Dude, like, get your head out of your butt. Like, what? You're so vain, you probably think the song is about you. That's the kind of thing, like, this guy is so egotistical and insecure, apparently. Like, simultaneously, you know, egotistical and insecure, that because he raised a hand and someone, like, either didn't see or looked down, he's like, what a biatch, you know, like, she must not like me. I gotta get back at her. And, like, no, friggin' douchebag. But all she's been doing is being cold to me since the moment we met. Why should I have to be the one to play nice with her? I'm going to speak my mind. What business is that of yours? You'd just say I stole it no matter what I said.
That's...
You can't go around talking to people like that. Even if all you care about is yourself, if you treat everyone who tries to help you like this, you'll just end up alone in the end. I don't like Felix anymore. Like, these interactions have soured Felix's reputation for me. He's such, like, he's being right now such a closed-minded idiot. He is. Holy crap. I do not like it. Felix sounds like a dick. Yeah. And it's just all of a sudden, he was fine. Up until this scene in the classroom with the notebook, he was fine. Like, he picked up the notebook with the intent of giving it back, and he, like, ran out of the classroom to find her, but then she was already gone and he couldn't. Like, he helped out this other girl who wanted to interview him for, like, a camera shop. He was fine. Just with these scenes, he's suddenly this arrogant dickbag. I don't get it.
Who do you think you are? You don't know anything.
I'm just saying, maybe if you weren't so nasty all the time, you could accept help. You wouldn't have to think of yourself as such a failure. The moment after she slaps me, Yuria's other hand raises to cover her mouth. You deserved it, dude. You absolutely deserved a slap. Holy crap, I kick him in the balls. She looks like she's about to be sick. She yanks the notebook out of my grasp and darts off, leaving... You still had the notebook? After all that time? You are such an arse that you still had the notebook. Wow. Maybe I went a little too far. You think? Well, I guess that's over with. That reminds me, didn't I get a notification this morning? Did he spell it right this time? Yeah, you did. I should check it. Oh, it's from Cammy. I'd capitalize it. Looks like she added me as a friend and sent me a message. Oh no, it was an invitation to meet up this morning. Too bad I overslept. Anyways, I could really use some caffeine right now. I think Nia mentioned a cafe near campus. Maybe I should check it out. Okay, was there any acknowledgement really of Yuria running off? Like, there's maybe I went a little too far. Well, I guess that's over with. Okay, yeah. Well, I guess that's over with. Just moving right on. Yeah, anyway. I think these are two separate sentences. I think Nia mentioned a cafe near campus, period. Maybe I should check it out. Like, capitalize maybe, you know. I step inside the cafe. Okay, before, with the previous two mentions of cafe, you were putting, like, the little... I forget what they're called. But the little mark over the E. Like, I think you just did that previously, too. Yeah, cafe near campus, you have that. Be consistent with it, I put it over here too. And look around for anyone familiar. It doesn't take long for me to spot a girl chewing on a pencil by herself at a nearby table. As I walk over to her, we make eye contact and she immediately stands up.
Oh, Felix, you're here.
I am! Yeah, I had some time, so I figured I'd stop by. You still have to tell me about your project after all. I put a question. Have I been doing that the entire time? I mean, comma. You should tell me about your project, comma, after all. Project Blue, I think is what you called it. Yeah, like a question mark. I'm just gonna mix them up the entire time, apparently. I think a question mark is fine there because it, like, marks his intonation. Like, Project Blue, I think is what you called it. But otherwise, like, it doesn't need, like, as written, it's just a statement. But I totally understand at this point, like, or in this case, rather, a question mark being for the intonation.
Oh, yeah. I was really looking forward to that. Before that, though, I was about to order myself a drink. You want anything?
I'd put a comma after that. Oh, no, that's okay, I'm good.
I have to thank you for listening to my ramblings somehow. Come on, just let me buy you a drink.
I don't want a drink. Well, if you say so, I'll just take some black coffee.
You got it.
Nia walks over to the counter and orders. I can tell she's really excited by how she springs on the toes of her feet. I don't think you need to phrase it like that. The toes of her feet? She doesn't have other toes. Like, you could say the balls of your feet, but you don't need the toes of her feet. Just, you know, like how she springs on her toes. That works, you know? She quickly returns and sits down across from me.
Well, it's nice to finally get to know someone.
This is a cool change of sprite. Because, like, you have the background change, obviously, but then you have the sprite itself change. Like, it's not a CG, it's just a different sprite. It's interesting.
You have no idea how hard it's been holding back all this info I have for you. In fact, I've been sort of waiting on you.
Have you been here all day?
Company and companionship.
Yay! Didn't you have anyone else to bounce ideas off of after you moved? Also capitalized didn't?
No, not really. But that's cool. I mean, as helpful as you.
Right. I would suggest capitalizing the no, and, you know, again, making that an M dash.
I spend most of my time studying for my other classes. The music's really hard to get into after all.
She's so quiet compared to the music. I feel myself smile weakly at the compliment. I find it hard to believe that I would be very helpful at all. But I'm here now at least, right? So that should count for something. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I looked away, hoping to trail off into thought about something to talk about. But instead I lock eyes with a waitress coming our way. Trail off into thought about something to talk about. Yeah, I guess that makes sense enough. Here you go, 1 black coffee. Can I get you 2 anything else? No thanks, I'm good. Enjoy your date! Oh, I see what she did there. She thinks this is a date. She walked away after placing down a steaming hot cup of coffee and an iced tea. My coffee was Venta Black. I don't know what that means. Black enough to see my tired reflection across the rippling surface. Obviously, the second part is not like a full sentence. You can use it stylistically as it is, but just so you know.
Sheesh, she thought we were totally on a date together. Can you imagine that? The 2 of us?
That just makes me think of
She thought we were totally on a date.
this one looped as well.
Can you imagine that? The 2 of us?
Just can you imagine makes me think of Ninja Sex Party, like
Fancy things, huh? I bet you still haven't been on one of those fancy things, huh? I bet you still haven't been on one of those fancy things, huh? Okay, you have to tell me. What was she like? Okay, you have to tell me. What was she like?
So I don't know how much you can hear, but it's just going through her other lines now, and multiple takes of each line. And like, that's cute and funny because it shouldn't be like that, obviously. I wish I could turn down the music volume so you could hear it better, but... She's still talking. Yeah, she's still going through different lines and different takes of those lines. So obviously, Misfortune Games, Malheur Games, fix that before releasing it. Like, obviously, I know that goes without saying. This is just something you missed, but yeah, fix that. Also, she thought we were totally on a date together. Get rid of the first on, so it's just, she thought we were totally on a date together. I'm clicking.
That, I bet you still haven't been on one of those fancy things, huh?
See, that time, it didn't go through multiple takes. But I think it did just go in order of her lines, because this is the first one that I heard following, like the actual previous line. I bet you still haven't been on one of those fancy things, huh? A date? I mean, knowing my awesome personality, probably not. Actually, minus Mima. Actually, I have. Please, let's not go there. I'd rather not get into it, I think to myself.
What was she like?
I guess I will tell her. She was the best thing that ever happened to me. Aw. But also, this isn't its own sentence. It's clearly going from she was, and it ended with an ellipsis, so I'd start this with an ellipsis and a lowercase the. Yes, she was. Because she is no more, because she died. But she's not here anymore. And she hasn't been for a long time. Of course, I can't tell Nia any of this. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Okay, so he isn't. I'd put a comma after course. I put a period after this. Yeah. Just the thought of her runs my blood cold and my heart aching. I think you could do without the comma. Because, well, no, I don't know. I was going to say because runs, but no, runs only works with runs my blood cold. And it would be like, and sets my heart aching, or makes my heart ache, Just the thought of her runs my blood cold and my heart aching. Like, my heart aching just doesn't fit. I would want to put something in there, like, again, and sets my heart aching. In which case, you don't need the comma. But yeah, I'd fiddle with that. She was someone special to me, but we've moved apart.
Well, I am really sorry to hear that.
Yeah, you look sorry. You sure do look sorry, Nia.
I'm sure you'll find someone better if you just give it time.
Comma after better? I'm not even sure such a person could even exist. Nia must have noticed something was off with me, because not a moment later, she reaches her hand out to grab me by my wrist. I don't know if I like reaches. I think I just meant like reached. Nia must have noticed something was off with me, because not a moment later, she reached her hand out to grab me by my wrist. She has a serious look in her eye. I don't know, whatever, you play with it. She has a serious look in her eye, as if she meant every word she said. I can tell she's trying to make me feel a little better, and I smile to reassure her, but I just do an ellipsis, da-da-da. I just feel terrible. Because it doesn't seem like that's abruptly cutting it off, it just seems like it's trailing off. It's different. I just feel terrible. Suddenly the cafe feels so crowded and loud. Change the I'm fine with suddenly not having a comma here because of how you read it through, but cafe again, like if you want to be consistent, you'd put the little mark above the E. Feels so crowded and loud. My hands feel clammy and my stomach grows cloudy. What does a cloudy stomach mean? I don't know what that means, though I try to return to the conversation at hand. Yeah, maybe. Capitalized thanks. A few minutes passed by, and Nia had let go of my hand. When? Having it be Nia had let go means she let go at some point in time. If you want her to let go after the few minutes, just a few minutes pass by, and Nia let go of my hand. That's what I'd say. Or let's even, if you want to do that. It's... Again, this visual novel so far has an interesting balance, I think, of present and past, where sometimes it works, sometimes it really doesn't. And that's just something you kind of just have to get an ear for. Despite my attempts to get back to whatever we were talking about before, I just can't shake the sinking feeling in my gut. I must have spaced out for too long, make 2 TOO, because when I finally return to Earth, Nia is looking at me with concern. Fair enough. When to capitalize Earth and when not to is kind of weird.
You look a little pale.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You say that, but school just started. If there's there's ever a time to get sick, it'd be now. I think we should call it off for now just in case. Getting some rest now could have you feeling fine tomorrow.
Maybe, yeah. Sorry.
You don't have anything to be sorry about. Besides, it's not that big of a deal.
Good.
It means a lot to me that you'd be willing to hear me now, even when you're not feeling well.
Thanks.
Text me when you're feeling well again, and we can go over everything. Okay?
Fair enough. Alright, I will. Thanks. She didn't put the context together all that well, with me suddenly feeling ill right after talking about that girl. I walked out of the shop with Nia, that girl being Mima, you know. I walked out of the shop with Nia, who spared a quick, worried glance at me before heading away. I'd get rid of the comma after me. Just a quick, worried glance at me before heading away. It looked like it was going to be a long walk home. The sun was just beginning set. Painfully, memories of days gone past racing through my mind. Oof. So this time you used past PAST, because I'm pretty sure before you used PASSED, and I'm in favor of this one. I think that's right, but let's look at the rest of this now. It looked like it was going to be a long walk home. That's fine. The sun was just beginning to set. Painfully, memories of days gone past racing through my mind. I assume you just mean painful memories of days gone past racing through my mind. Okay, so not too difficult to fix, just the sun was just beginning to set, painful memories of days gone past racing through my mind. There we go. Mima. What would she think of me now? What would she think of Nia? I bet the three of us could have been friends. Lost in thoughts all alone, I walked back home with a heavy heart and a tight chest. I couldn't imagine a worse possible outcome for how today went down. Okay. Ha! What am I even doing? Capitalize what? Cammy never messaged me back. I got into a fight with that Yuria chick. I made Nia uncomfortable to top it all off, though it's not like I could help it. Being reminded of Mima is too painful. Even though I know I can't continue living like this, it's not like I can change overnight. But hey, every day I'm okay is a step forward in the right direction. I just say a step in the right direction. I don't think you need forward, just a step in the right direction. Because the idea is that that right direction is moving forward, you know? So it's kind of redundant, and it doesn't quite fit within the common phrase. Next time I see Nia, I'll be better. I don't know if I'd ever be able to tell her about everything. But I should at least be able to take pride in the life I've lived until now. Before I hop into bed, I write about today's events in the diary. I wonder if that Reaper girl checks it as I write. I should probably pay her a visit and see what she thinks of these past 2 days. Are you going to pay her a visit now? Yeah, apparently. Alright, back at it again in the library. Capitalize back. First order of business is finding Shifa, which shouldn't be hard. I walk around the library looking for Shifa, but instead I find... this guy again. It's Boss!
Hey there. Welcome back, lad. What brings you here?
Comma after back. Oh, just looking for Shifa. Do you know where she is?
She's probably in a book somewhere.
I'd capitalize she's.
I'm not sure how long she'll be, but you're more than welcome to hang out in the meantime.
Thanks, Boss. Well, I guess I'll do just that then. This seems like a good time to get to know this guy better. So, why are you running a library?
Do I need a reason to do something?
No. Do you have one, though? No. I just wanted to know if there was some sort of purpose behind all of this.
I decided to collect what your kind writes for fun. It's like a hobby of mine.
Wait, did you just steal the library, then?
You've got another friend who collects technology you build, another who collects art, and so on.
I see.
You humans are really fascinating, even if originality isn't everyone's strong point.
Fair enough.
It's the diamonds in the rough of the mean that I enjoy finding.
The diamonds in the rough of the mean. I'm not sure what that means. So, why do you need Shifa then? I haven't seen many librarians with scythes.
Because of the nature of the library. We don't exactly let our guests check out books and pay a late fee. Nor are we a public service. We collect our payments up front and provide our services instantly in exchange.
It's really an interesting concept, but I feel like it's not great, because to me it seems like this dude just stole a bunch of books. Because, like, they say the Library of Alexandria didn't burn down, this is it, right? But it's not, but like, the humans think it burned down, which means that they lost all of that information, which to me means that this guy stole it all. And if they get new books, then that means that they steal them too, right? And maybe, you know, if there are multiple copies of a book, they just steal one copy and that's fine. They don't actually steal, like, the idea, the story itself. But it seems to me they steal information or they steal books, and then you can read it. But however much time passes in the story that you read is how much of your life you give up. I don't think that's a service. That doesn't seem like a good service. I'll take it back. It's a service, but yeah, not a good one. Very much like, well, it's not even benefiting him. What does it benefit him that she takes our life? He doesn't gain anything from it except he steals these books. And then he's like, yeah, you can read them, but you're going to die. What? It doesn't make sense. No public service. We collect our payments up front and provide our services instantly in exchange. Payments? He does call them payments, though. How do you benefit from taking my life?
Oh, you are paying with your life. It's not like we really do anything with it. Consider it a rule of interdimensional ethics.
Well, interdimensional ethics sound like they suck, then. I'll have no part of that. Right. I think I get it.
Now, if you'll excuse me, lad, I've got a few things to take care of.
Comma after me. Before I got a chance to say goodbye, he walked away. Back to being by myself again. At least I'm good at it. Just then, I hear light footsteps coming towards me.
Oh, what brings you here?
Hey, I was wondering what you thought of my progress these past 2 days.
You think you had progress?
Capitalize the first U? Yeah, I got a girl's number. One sent me a friend request, and as far as the other... Maybe I shouldn't mention that I got into a fight with her. Capitalize maybe.
I don't think that's anything worth commending. People do those all the time. You are serious about this, right? Please don't waste my time.
Fair, that's fair. Still, for all that to happen within 24 hours is pretty significant. Again, I'd write it out like the 24 instead of that. Mima did most of the work in the relationship, so while I do have experience, it really doesn't amount to anything. I'd put a comma after experience. I don't even know how to ask someone out. Mima is the one who asked me out. Capitalize maybe. I'm a lost cause. I was hoping for some kind of assistance or something.
You're pushing the work off onto me now, too? I can't believe this.
Believe it, sister.
I was going to overlook the fact that you failed miserably in every possible way today. But now... I don't even know what to do with you. It's like you completely sabotaged any chance of getting to know 3 different people you met.
Is this just like a bad route? Like, are there choices I could have made that wouldn't lead to all this? I hope so. I sincerely hope so.
Those girls were textbook cases of potential love interests found in any novel, and you blew it.
I did. Although I don't know how I blew the Cammy thing. Because neither of us just reached out to each other, right? And obviously it didn't offer me any choice to be like, who do I contact, you know? I just happened, I think, to stumble upon Nia at the cafe. I don't remember there being a case, because like she asked me to the cafe, but it was early that morning, right? And he was like, oh, I shouldn't have overslept, oh well. And then I thought that he just went to the cafe just because. I didn't actually expect to see Nia there. The thing with Yuria, he definitely blew because he was a dick. But I didn't think the Cammy thing was anything on us. I think it was just... It just didn't happen. I don't know. Why is moving forward so hard? No, this has nothing to do with that. No matter how wounded I may be on the inside, I can't let it affect how I function on the outside. Good job, you used the right effect. Nice. Though, that's easier said than done. Maybe I should just give up. I'm sorry. I don't think I can do this.
I can't stay mad if you make a pathetic face like that.
Aren't all my faces pathetic, though?
Alright, I'll give you one more chance. Hand me the diary.
Okay. I dejectedly hand it over.
Listen carefully. This is the only time I'm ever going to do this, okay?
Yeah, cut today out of my life, yeah.
I'm going to cut today out of your life.
I see. Cut today out?
With my scythe and this diary, it's possible to make it so that today will have never happened.
I see. Interesting.
Once I cut out today's page, you'll go back to this morning with your memories of today still intact.
That's why today was so short.
Normally you wouldn't remember a thing, but everything about this is an exception. I'm counting on you here.
That's dangerous. You shouldn't count on me.
You won't have another chance after this one, so you better get it together. You won't get close to anyone by ignoring them, fighting with them, or worrying them.
Fair. Fair enough. Worrying maybe, but the other two... Well, again, I don't think I was ignoring Cammy. I just don't think anything came up about it, right? Or was it Cammy that asked me out earlier in the morning? Not Nia? I don't know. Right. I'll do it better this time, thank you. I won't get a second chance after all. Though considering... This is your second chance! This is your second chance! Though considering I almost blew my second chance already... Maybe this is more like the third... What are you talking about? I don't understand what you're saying. You won't get a second chance. But you almost blew your second chance. So maybe this is a third chance. I don't know what this part means. I won't get a second chance after all, though considering I almost blew my second chance already, maybe this is more like the third chance.
Good. The reason I'm doing this now is because you needed help getting started. After this, though, your actions and their consequences are on you.
Comma after this.
Even if the choices you make don't lead anywhere, as long as you truly tried your best, I'll accept the outcome.
Comma after best.
Today, you didn't truly try. Though, to be fair, today never happened. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're capable of this time.
Cool. She caught the page with today's date in the fold of her scythe and pulled. Do scythes have folds? I don't think they do. I'd look into the wording on that. No, why? I don't want to get up, but I need to. No matter how hard it is to get out of bed, I have to do it. If not for myself, for her. Still, capital A still, it's a bit harder getting out of bed today. My whole body feels stiff. I managed to at least grab my phone. It's currently 6 in the morning. Oof. I really need to get up if I want to get there at 8. Get where at 8? What's this? Out of the corner of my eye, I see a notification on my phone. Hey, notification. I see a notification on my phone. That's so much better than, like, I see a notification on the phone's screen, you know. You have 1 new friend request. You have 1 new message. Who's bugging me this early? Oh, right. Capitalize O. Yeah, no problem. It's good to be safe. I trudge off the train and make my way towards the university. Man, I am definitely not a morning person.
Hey! You got my message!
Okay, so it was Cammy who messaged earlier. I just missed that fact then. How far back can I go with the log? Brr, 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 brr. I'm gonna test it out. Doop-a-doop. Yep, I should check it. Oh, it's from Cammy. Looks like she added me as a friend and sent me a message. Oh no, it was an invitation to meet up this morning. Too bad I overslept. Okay, gotcha. So it was Cammy. Now we know. Got my message. Yes, I did. Technically, I ignored it the first time, but yeah. Consider a comma after technically. I don't think you need it in this case, but you can consider one. I suppose this is definitely better than walking alone. Hey, I feel like death. I really should have slept in this morning. Dude, learn. That was so quiet, Cammy. Why does everyone always assume I'm sick? No, it's fine. I'm just not used to getting up this early, haha. You see, I don't like ha-has like that. But this time I didn't have a choice. I lent her my umbrella? That doesn't sound like me. It sounds like I would keep it to myself and like maybe beat her over the head with it a little bit first before running. But, alright.
Still, that brick storm really came out of nowhere.
It did, and how. Yeah, and for the record, it rained even harder halfway on my run back home.
Thank you for your service. Anyways, here.
Also, I'd consider a comma after record. Like, yeah, and for the record, it rained even harder, yeah. Anyways, here. After a half-hearted salute, she hands me back my umbrella that I lent her last night. I wonder if soldiers feel this empty when being thanked. It suddenly rained really hard last night while we were retaking the new footage, and she was lugging all that equipment with her, so of course I felt sorry for her. I don't like how this is worded, because, like, we've already been told a couple times that it, like, rained really hard, you know? And I think, because right now the emphasis is just, like, it suddenly rained really hard, right? And we already knew that. I think what you're trying to emphasize is how sudden it was. So maybe just, it rained so hard and so suddenly last night that I felt bad, you know? Like, change up the emphasis and I think would make it seem less redundant and actually provide more meaning for this part. I mean, that area wasn't too far off from my apartment, so I thought, hey, I could just wing it, right? Wrong.
Still think that it's a pretty umbrella for this time.
Thanks. Yeah, someone gave it to me. I inspected the brown umbrella, which is apparently really cute. Oh, okay, it's not just brown, it has like stuff. I thought it was just a brown umbrella, I'm like, I don't see it. It has a bear face on it and a pair of ears on the top. One of the ears has a slight tear on it. I'm not losing this for anything in the world, even if it is getting a little old. Replacing this would be like replacing Mima.
Guess I owe you double now.
Capitalized guess. Sure do.
Anyway, I finally posted the interview. Here, check it out.
Oh, so we finished it? She pulls out her phone and shows me a video on her Facebook page. I get it. Facebook. It starts with a panning shot of the plaza, with the view shakes here and there. I don't think you need that comma. A voiceover starts. The city plaza, home to an assortment of different people.
From all walks of life. Here, we can find many kinds of...
Did she, in person, start saying that? Because if so, I can see the dashes, because, like, she's interrupting the camera her to start speaking, but otherwise I don't see the point. Here we can find many kinds of... She sounds very formal and earnest at the same time, almost like a friend showing you around town. The camera work was a little shaky, but solid, never staying too long in one place.
And who else do we ask? Let's ask the ones who are making their livelihood here, and see what everyday life is like for them.
Remove the comma before and. Just, let's ask the ones who are making their livelihood here and see what everyday life is like for them. The video then went to a one-on-one interview of every single shopkeeper in the plaza. The number of people she interviewed. This must have taken at least 3 days to get this much footage. Capitalize this, you know, this must have taken. And it was all really well edited, with tasteful cuts here and there.
And here's where you come in.
Yep, there I was, standing right beside the sign name of the sign name. I just do one or the other, standing right beside the sign of the camera shop or right beside the name of the camera shop. I don't think sign name is a thing. Wondering what to say. Did my hair always look like that? Huh. Oh, that's always fun. Gotta be careful with dogs. Suddenly, a door behind me opens, and the camera zooms in on the storekeeper's face. It freezes in place, and the words, Mr. Jital Rai, store owner, appears on the bottom. Appeared, because it's the words that appear is referring back to. So the words appear on the bottom. The video then cuts to his interview portion.
What do you think about that?
Wait. You used the first cut?
Yep. The comedic timing was just too good to ignore.
Fair enough. Oh. So there wasn't really any need for the second take. Capitalized so.
Well, in the end, it was the best take that we had. It looks good, right?
Yeah, like you didn't even finish the second take from what I could tell. I'm not really mad, but it's kind of annoying to think that she used the first take anyway. douchebag. Period after anyway. Like, again, as the player, I didn't think that they got to finish the second take because then the storm started and so it just showed them, like, running off, you know? I don't like Felix. Which is sad, because he was fine at the beginning, but then he was a dick to Yuria, and then since then, he's just had these moments where he's just, like, randomly getting annoyed at people for, like, no fault of theirs, and he has these thoughts of it's like, do I really have to do this? It's like, stop being a baby, just do the thing, like, you were given a second chance, just get up, but yeah, period after anyway, that's the important part right here. Especially since I could have avoided getting sick like this if I hadn't stayed. I don't believe you're actually sick. You don't even think you're sick. You questioned why everyone thought you looked sick. You shouldn't be sick. Otherwise, why would you question why everyone asks why you look sick? It doesn't make sense. Are you sick or are you not? Why are you complaining? Why are you a little baby who's so egotistical? Then again, I agreed to this, so what can I do? It's not like this will launch my acting career or anything. I'm just glad that the end product came out well. I would say came out good. Honestly. Like, because if you use well, then that goes back to came out. And I don't know. Well, let's see. Because you want the final product to be good, but maybe you want it to come out well. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'd stick with well this time. You're right. Yeah, it looks good. Because that's the thing, like, you wouldn't say it looks well, but I guess you want it to come out well, you know? Capitalized thanks, and sorry for putting you through all that last night. Don't worry about it. I knew what I was getting into anyway. Achowo! Capitalize you. Don't tempt me. Yeah, I know I look like crap today. And probably every day. But I feel fine. I'm not used to waking up this early, that's all. No, it's fine, really. Must hold back the sneeze. Maybe I'm allergic to her perfume? Okay! She pockets the phone, guilt written all over her face. She doesn't have to feel so bad about it. I mean, I was the one who was stupid enough to run in the rain anyways. Well, my class is over there. Guess we'll see each other around.
Yeah, sure. Take care.
We head off to our classes, walking in separate directions. I get a few funny stares from some nearby students. Yep, I know. A guy like me walking around with a girl like that. Unheard of. Or maybe it's the girly umbrella I'm carrying around. It shouldn't be that noticeable if you have it closed, right? Like, there's the bare face and the ears. Those are the only things that separated it from, like, a normal brown umbrella, right? And so if you have it closed, I can't imagine the face to be that visible. And the ears, like, probably not too much. A girl like that, huh? I put a comment after that. It's nice to see someone who's really passionate about their work. I wonder if I can ever be like that again. Hopefully so, man. Depression sucks. Eventually, I make it to my class for the day. I arrived a bit earlier than usual today. Most people aren't here yet. I'm going to have to play this next part very carefully, so I need to relax. Maybe I still have time to grab a drink before class starts. So when he, like, the previous iteration of this day, right? Like, he woke up, and then he went back to bed, and then he woke up and he's like, well, I still have time before another class starts, right? Like, did he go straight from talking to Cammy to here, or was there a time skip that I missed? Because otherwise the times just don't seem to line up. As I go to leave, I spot the piano girl from yesterday coming towards the room. Once again, she avoids all eye contact with me. She's really not making it easy to not be annoyed with her. Stop being a prick! Okay, at least the other option is here now. Approach her and give her the notebook. Maybe she just didn't see me. I'll meet her in the doorway as she's coming in. Excuse me, Yuria?
How do you know my name?
She looks suspicious, but before she can say anything more, I thrust the book out in front of her. This is yours, isn't it?
That's...
She snatches it out of my hands like I just offered her $1,000. Rather than gratitude, however, I met with a cold glare.
Where did you find this? Are you some sort of thief?
What? No! You dropped it when you were leaving the music room. She shoves past me and heads towards her seat. Yesterday. It's Felix, isn't it? What? I spin around to see the professor standing behind me. It's nice you're so eager to greet me, but we're going to begin soon. Would you mind taking your seat? Yes, of course. I do just that. I feel the eyes of the other students follow me to my seat, but Yuria doesn't give me a second glance. What is up with her? She could have at least thanked me for returning her notebook. Hey, Felix. Let's talk a little bit, you and me. Just for a moment, you know? Now, in the previous iteration of this day, you read her notebook. You know the contents of that notebook. Shifa specifically made it so you'd remember what happened the previous day. Do you remember? Do you remember reading the notebook? Clearly, Yuria is going through some things, and you don't have to judge her so harshly. Okay? Not everything's about you. Shut up! Okay. We're good. Don't give me any more attitude, Felix. I'm not having it. Oh well, I should probably pay attention. The professor might speak in monotone, but he doesn't post his slides either. I'll need to take notes. Finally, class is over. Let's see. Up next is meeting with Nia. Capitalize up. She should be at that cafe right about now. I remember that we were going to meet to talk about our new project. I head over to the cafe with a cautious, yet optimistic attitude. I don't know if the comma is necessary, but I can't say it's not unnecessary, you know what I mean? So I guess, look it up and decide what you want to do. Because, my thinking is, it's either a cautious yet optimistic attitude, or a cautious yet optimistic attitude. And the second one would require a comma after optimistic as well. So I either think a comma after optimistic or no comma in there. That's my thinking. I am confident that I will be able to do much better this time. I step inside the cafe, again, cafe, just put the little mark over it, and look around for anyone familiar, though it doesn't take long to spot my pencil-chewing friend. I make eye contact with her and wave, offering a friendly smile.
Oh, Felix! You showed up!
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had some time, so I figured I'd stop by. You still have to tell me about your project after all. Again, same thing with the comma. Project Blue, was it called? I do Project Blue, comma, lowercase, was it called, question mark. But not Project Blue, was it called? That's too much of a pause and all that.
Oh, yes, Project Blue. I was really looking forward to that.
With the way that she said it, I'd put a comma after O.
You want anything?
Make these two separate sentences. I was about to order a drink, period, capitalize you, want anything, or, a colon, yeah. Oh no, that's okay, I'm good. I'd capitalize that's.
I have to thank you for listening to my rambling somehow. Come on, let's find community.
Well, okay then. I'll just take a coffee. Black.
You got it.
Alright, this time around I'll be the one to steer the conversation. Even though it's about her project. I mean, if you're asking questions about it, that's fine. I just need to find an opening, and I'll make sure we talk about positive things. No need to even think about her.
Well, it's nice to finally get to tell this to someone. You have no idea how hard it's been holding back all this info I have for you. In fact, I've been sort of waiting all day
I
for
believe
this.
it.
Coffee and companionship.
Now I wonder if no, because we won't reach the same point. I was going to say, I wonder if when we reach the same point, if it'll go off and do all of her different lines and takes again. But if we're avoiding the conversation about Mima, we shouldn't reach that dialogue, I wouldn't think. I'm surprised that you didn't have anyone else to bounce ideas off. It must be rough trying to work on this project alone.
I will admit that sometimes it can be a bit difficult to focus, but it's not too bad for me. I have my super lovely sister to go to if
That's
I ever
good.
need help. Whenever she's not working, that is.
Right. Comma after working at the end there. I think that's technically correct. I would maybe consider other punctuation after help, an ellipsis, a dash, whatever, just because there does seem to be some bit of pause before whenever she's not working, that is, and a bit of distinction, but I think it's fine as is. Oh, is that so? It must be nice having a sibling to rely on. I'm an only child, so I wouldn't know.
She can be a bit irresponsible sometimes. But yeah, I'm really lucky for the most part to have her when she's around. I'm happy to see her.
Okay, now either Nia is really trying to drive the point home that her sister is not always around, or you're being a little bit pushy and redundant here. Like, we just got that she's not always around, that is, you know? Like, as in, literally just the last thing Nia said, whenever she's not working, that is, when she's around, that is, you know? It just seems a little bit pushy, a little in your face, like, I get it, you know? Her voice trails off at the end, and I begin to worry. Is this a touchy subject? Like, it seems more powerful here, so I would probably just do, but it's not too bad for me. I have my super lovely sister to go to if I ever need help. And then, she can be a bit irresponsible sometimes, but yeah, I'm really lucky for the most part to have her when she's around, that is. Yeah, I think that's better. I don't love the ellipsis right before that is. I would prefer that when she's, like, before when she's around, and then just have a comma between those two. But yeah. I looked away hoping to think about something else to talk about, but instead I locked eyes with a waitress coming our way. Here you go, 1 black coffee. Can I get you to anything else? No thanks, we're good. Enjoy your date! Wait, this is the chance I was looking for! Thanks, we will.
Hey, you're giving her the wrong idea!
Oh, I didn't think you'd be this embarrassed, haha. She might as well grab him by the collar and go, I'm lonely a lot, yeah. I need to steer this conversation onto her project. Good. Also, sorry, so I'm using this webcam today. I'm actually using my Logitech C920 webcam, but I still sometimes look at my laptop webcam, which is right beneath it, so apologies if that looks weird sometimes. Ahem, anyways, so that program you showed me earlier at the computer lab, you were telling me that it was some sort of AI, comma, right? And no period after the question mark. That's unnecessary. Tell me more about how you want me to test it.
Oh, right.
Comma after O.
Basically, I just need to talk to you. Treat it like a real human being. I already have it set up on my laptop, so you can give it a quick test.
Okay, so yeah, comma after O, capitalized basically. And then the next part kind of depends on how you want to read it. It could be, I already have it set up on my laptop so you can give it a quick test, which means the reason it's already set up on her laptop is so Felix can give it a quick test. Or if she's saying, I already have it set up on my laptop, comma, so if you'd like, you can give it a quick test, then, you know, a comma. So the comma is iffy depending on your intention behind it. But I do a period after test, capitalized let. Nia turns around and pulls her laptop out of her book bag. It's a large, beastly-looking thing that would probably have more business belonging to someone who worked for Napa, is that NASA, rather than a schoolgirl. Okay. Is book bag 2 words? I'm more familiar with backpack, you know. Yep, book bag, 2 words. Cool. Back to the game I go. And correct then, right? Yeah. Turning it around and flipping it open, I am met with a small, basic chat room. White background, black text, and a small field for me to type in. I'd use a colon there. After chat room, just colon. Lowercase white background, black text, and a small field for me to type in. And this is all assuming, of course, that Felix is the one turning it around and flipping it open. Then that would work. I want to check chat room, see if that's one word or not. No, they have it as 2. Well, okay, they say it's either. They as in Google. But mostly with a space. Can be either, but mostly with a space. Okay, so it's good as it is. Good.
Voila! Project complete. It doesn't look like much right now, but I can add all of the graphical options to make it look prettier later.
Cool. I don't know if voila has any, accent marks or anything. Accent marks. So I'd Google that, and if so, just implement them. Because why not? Okay.
She's super duper nice because, well, that's how I made her.
Of course. If you're making a pocket therapist, you'd want them to be friendly.
Why don't you say hi?
Nia offers me her computer. Unsure of what to say, I just type hello into the chat bar. Hello.
It'll screen you for what kind of person you want to talk to.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, I would, because AI and the dialogue tags, I would make that capital. I don't see because in all the text leading up to this, they've done capital A, capital I. So I'd just make it capital A, capital I here. Even if capital A, lowercase I is fine. You know, consistency is good, so I'd make it all caps. It'll screen you for what kind of person you want to talk to, so just answer it however you feel like. Nia nods, encouraging me to go on, so I continue. I type, how are you doing? I heard that you are an AI? I'm doing wonderful since you are here. Also, yes, I am an AI, designed to be your friend.
It'll eventually learn your texting patterns and develop its own personality.
I see.
But that takes a while, so she sounds pretty generic for now.
Comma after while, especially with the way that, like, Nia said it. Oh, I couldn't even begin to understand how it could do that. This must be one smart AI.
She sure is. After that, I just need you to talk to her daily.
Daily.
Think that's something you could do?
Daily for how long? Count me in. I'd love to try something like that out.
Thanks for supporting me. I can add your name as a beta tester once I get a site open.
Nice. Sweet, I'll have a new thing to put on my resume.
You're welcome. For now, though, you'll have to download her to your computer, which is where this little thing comes in handy.
What, a flash drive? Nia pulls out a flash drive from her book bag and twirls it around in her fingers before putting it down on the table before me. Picking it up, I flip open the drive and eye her curiously. So, book bag, you had it spaced before. I looked it up, that seemed accurate, so I put a space in it here. And I feel like flash drive should also be 2 words. I'm checking that now. Flash drive 2 words, yeah. So space flash drive and space book bag. And you should be fine here. I think that was all. Nia pulls out a flash drive from her book bag and twirls it around in her fingers before putting it down on the table before me. Picking it up, I flip open the drive and eye her curiously.
That contains all the files you'll need to run Project Blue.
Nice.
For now, it'll only work on your laptop or a desktop computer. Just install it and text me if you run into any issues. Alright?
Think you can... Fair. Think you can lose the comma after install it. Just install it and text me if you run into any issues. You should be fine there. Alrighty, yeah. Taking the flash drive again, space that. Taking the flash drive, comma, I put it safely in my pocket. Nia seemed content with this, and took her laptop away before stuffing it into her book bag. Get rid of the comma after this. The rest of the evening was spent talking about our time in... Oh, Lilia Matsumoto University in Memories from Long Ago. I forgot that was the full name of the university. Assuming it was accurate. I actually managed to enjoy our time together. It was nice having someone I could call a friend just to hang out with. So these are clearly 2 different sentences, so I actually managed to enjoy our time together, period, or something else that fits, look up grammatical rules and such. It was nice having someone I could call a friend just to hang out with. The waiter definitely thought we were dating, but honestly, it was fun just to watch Nia's face grow increasingly more interesting shades of pink and red. Eventually, comma, probably, I would say so, we parted ways and I went back home, this time a little more confident with how I did. The last part again, it is a sentence fragment as it is. If it's for stylistic purposes, okay, but make sure that you do those stylistic purposes with actual intent, with real purpose behind them, you know? Otherwise, just fit that into the other sentence, you know? Eventually, comma, we parted ways and I went back home, comma, this time a little more confident with how I did. Or you could do, you know, this time, comma, I was a little more confident with how I did. Ha, capital today was exhausting, but I'm happier with how things turned out. First, I ran into that film girl, Cammy. She's pretty nice. I'm glad I didn't ignore her like last time. I just, again, make that a period or a semicolon or something. I'm glad that I was able to give Yoria back her notebook, too. I'm also really looking forward to that project with Nia. She said she'd help me get it set up next time we met. Before I hop into bed, I write about today's events in the diary. Well, Shifa, I did it! I tried my best. Let's see what you have to say to that. Let's see. Now, where could she be? Maybe behind those shelves? Yeah, there she is. Found her. Look, she's right there. Capital, she's really reaching for that one book. I wonder if I should offer to help. Oh, she actually got it. Nice.
Oh, you're back. Well, how'd today go?
With the way she said it, it would just be, oh, comma, you're back. But, whatever. I think it went really well. Even though my best isn't the best, I gave it my all.
I'm glad to hear that. Here, let me review what you wrote in the diary today.
Please do.
This is good.
Oh.
You pass. If you keep connecting with people like this, I'm sure something good will happen.
Good. Excellent. You really think so? Awesome.
Indeed. Did you want to read a book while you're in the library?
No, thank you. I think I'll pass. It sounds like something I should do when I really need it.
A wise decision indeed. I appreciate that you value your life.
Right? Jeez. Haha. You know, I don't think I've properly thanked you yet for the opportunity you've given me. So, thank you. I mean it. I put a comma after so. You even made an exception for me. I'm looking forward to seeing how our partnership grows. Shifa?
Sorry. I'm not really used to being thanked. You're welcome. I'm looking forward to this too.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to get back out there and give it my all. Can you send me off?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. She raises her scythe.
Hey, make sure you come visit me sometimes too. Okay?
I mean, I have so far, like, twice over the course of technically one day, right? So, I probably will. I'd capitalize. Well, let's see. Because you could have, like, hey, comma, make. Like, that would be a fine sentence. So I guess with an ellipsis, that's also fine. Never mind. And she sends me off. Demo end. We've reached the end of the demo, everybody. Cool. Oh, hello, Shifa. Hello again. Oh, never mind. Goodbye, Shifa. I think you could edit that just for the demo's sake, but it obviously is just for the demo, so that shouldn't last too long anyway. But, there we go. Did I unlock any pictures? Yeah, I did. Look at these pictures I unlocked, everybody. Look at these pictures. Oh, I guess okay, I'm trying to click on the right side, but I guess I only have these. Like, she's not looking down at the book. She's not. She's just staring off into something else. Then we have this one. I think this is my favorite of the images. Like, it's really pretty. It's pretty dynamic. It has good reflection in that, too. And Yuria's probably... I think, as far as favorite character, like, favorite girls go. Well, favorite characters, too, because Felix is, like, at the bottom of my list. Yuria and Shifa are my two favorites. Particularly Shifa, like, I mean, I think Yuria is my favorite. And then Shifa got better near the end when we get to see her open up a little bit more. Yeah. So that's my thing. So let's wrap some things up. You know, most of what I would go over, I just went over as I played, you know. I don't think that dialogue options when you only have like one choice is great. For the reasons I went over. It makes more sense if you plan to, like, again, go back in time and, like, give them another chance, right? But I don't know. I don't want to say cheating, but like, I feel it would be jarring to people. I think, you know, a lot of people would have the same reaction I did, where it's like, well, there's only one, especially when you have, you know, you haven't had a choice clear up to that point to finally get a choice, but it's just like one thing to click on. I don't think it's worth doing. And I think it runs a risk, honestly, of like developing the character in a particular way. Because it really takes like who Felix is out of the character's, or out of the player's control, rather. Because Felix, to me, is an unsocial, depressed dick. That's just how he is. Like, at first I thought he was just unsocial and depressed. But then with how he treated Yuria, and then how, you know, like some other bits of behavior after that point, he's just not a good person. He's very egocentric, as insecure as he also may be. And it's not cool. Like, I don't like him. I don't like Felix. And so when you only have that one option, or, you know, if you don't have any options, but then he just does his own thing, like, either way, it's setting up Felix to be that kind of character. Now, if you have multiple options, you know, where one of them is like, give the notebook back, one of them is read it in front of her, one of them is this other thing, right? Like, just hold off until later, until she notices you, and then give it, you know, that kind of thing, whatever. At least then, the character will develop according to the player's decisions, the player will be more invested, more involved, that sort of thing. And then, like, I won't have to think Felix himself is a dig. It would be like, oh shoot, I made a bad decision, that's on me. So if you want him to be that way, that's fine. But just be aware that that's what that kind of decision, like as in only having that one option, or not having any options and having him do that sort of thing anyway, that's what that can lead to. And it's kind of tricky, because I get that, like, you wanted to introduce, I think, the mechanic or whatever, mechanic is used loosely here, you know. Shifa can turn back time. She can get rid of the day, so you start the day over, make that exception, you have your memories. But maybe you don't need that unless the player makes a mistake, you know? If the player just ruins his chances with all of the girls because the player, you know, made those crappy decisions, then Shifa can do the whole turn back time thing, don't do it again, this is the last chance, then it becomes a game over if you're also still a dick. But, you know, like, if you need that element to be involved in the story, if you need Shifa to, like, turn back time, then it's just riskier, because, again, you set up Felix to be more of an a-hole, and you know what I mean? Also, I'm seeing some messages. Hello, a timely jest. Timely you are not this time, because I finished the demo after like 3.5 hours of streaming, I think it was. I'm just giving my final thoughts here. Did I notice how Shiva's eyes moved right before you moved to another picture? Yes, it's because I clicked. If I go back to that, because, like, if you go to the CG, oh, maybe you weren't here at that point, Jolteon, actually. But yeah, because first she's just, like, reading, and then she notices you, and so she looks over. And then if I click again, you know, she's laughing. If I click again, then it goes back to this menu. Yeah. Thank you, Timely Jest. I don't know, I enjoyed myself with the game. Hey, so take that for what you will, Mario Games. I did enjoy myself. I didn't enjoy everything, obviously, but overall, I had fun. Like, I think there's a lot of, like, I think it's a really interesting concept. I think there's a lot of good potential here. I think some things should be crystallized, some things should be clarified. And then just, again, make sure that for those riskier decisions, like making Felix out to be the kind of character that he is, that you're doing that purposely. You know, purposefully, both of those. That you know what's happening, and that's what you want. Because it can be a little bit alienating. Like, for me, I suddenly severed all connections I had with Felix, you know? Where I would relate to him up until that point, but then I'm like, nope, you're being a douche. Like, I'm not having this. Like, so just be aware that that could be a possible response, a possible reaction from the people who play your game. And make sure that you're fine with that. Yeah, and it's totally fine if you are, but, you know, it just will impact people's, you know, perceptions of the game and how they, like, the time that they had playing it. So, yeah. Lots of grammatical stuff that you could fix. I pointed out most of the ones I came across. So, if you, and again, you don't necessarily have to take anything that I said, just consider things, you know, look things up, Google things. Again, like, when I wasn't sure about something, I Googled it, and I bettered myself because of it. And just with your project, I think that you want to take the time to make it as polished as possible. So, you know, look up those grammatical things and, you know, change them, or at least some of them, consider it, you know. Make sure, of course, that you change when, like, the voices would, the voice actresses would, like, keep going through other lines or through multiple takes, or they repeat a line on accident. Make sure to change that, because that obviously isn't something you want in, like, a final product, rather. Yeah, I mean, I would be interested to see how these things develop. I think personally, again, I would like to see more choices in this game. If you're going to have choices, period, I would like to see more of them. And I think that it would benefit the game to have some choices earlier on too, because when a choice finally did come up, it was surprising, you know? So maybe introduce that earlier on, and it could just be with little things, again, little things that don't actually impact the story, but just, you know, get a different dialogue response, something like that. And then you could pretty easily just loop it back in, just continue on with the story you have planned, but at least then the player will have a little bit more involvement, hopefully invest themselves a little bit more because of that, and ultimately, like, it'll feel like they have more say in the matter, like in the game as a whole, and Felix's character, things like that. And it won't be as surprising when they finally do get some choices. The art was really nice. I really rather liked it. You know, just a good style, pretty good cohesion overall. It was cool how sometimes instead of just new backgrounds changing, like just a new sprite was introduced, or like a little cluster of sprites, like, you know, Nia and the table, that kind of thing. I liked the change in art with the chibi Nia when you know, the program had its error. That was cute. Things like that. That's all that's coming to mind right now. So if you watch this, you know, thank you. I hope that this was helpful to you at all, both with, you know, insights into grammar, into character, into story, you know, like, I say both and then those three things. But you get it. Like, I hope that this is some benefit to you rather than just, like, because I don't want to just make these videos for word of mouth. Like, obviously that's part of it, is just to get this out there to other people who might otherwise not be aware that this game is in progress, that you have a Kickstarter, all that. But I hope, too, that you'll be able to take some of these things I've said and use it to actually improve your game and the gameplay, etc. So, thank you guys, those of you who are here watching. I hope that you enjoyed this stream or this video, depending on how you watch this, whether on Twitch or later on YouTube. Yeah, make sure that if you're interested in supporting this, you go and check out their Kickstarter before it fades. Like, I got on this game pretty quickly. So I think there's still like 25, I don't know. I guess I could check really quickly because I have a link to it and everything, right? Yes, I do, right here. So as of recording this, there are 25 days to go. So I was actually really close. Wow. Yeah, 25 days to go. So by the time I upload this on YouTube, there should be 24 days because I just plan on uploading it the next day. So if you're interested, go ahead and back it. They actually have a fairly small goal. Only $3,500 is what they're asking for, and they already have $1,500, almost $1,600. If you want to get in on some of those pledges, you know, like, hurry up and grab it while it's still there. But yeah, thank you guys. We're going to call this stream here, so have a good one, everybody.